Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So, let's get right to it then.
I've been betrayed.
Have you been betrayed?
Yeah, I was expecting a pop top can and the entire top of the can peeled off soup can style.
Oh my.
And I'm really confused as to how I'm supposed to drink beer like this, but, you know, whatever.
Guess.
Anyhow.
I should have made myself a drink, but I'm sure there'll be time eventually. So as the group crests over the ridge, they look upon the city of Brass. A large city which, at the distance, does in fact look to be made of brass, though as you travel closer you realize that it's pretty much the rooftops and the crenellations and the upper floors of buildings that are made seemingly of brass. Everything else is thick white stone.
False advertisement. Come on, guys, we're going back to the desert. Turn around.
Seems counterintuitive, despite how much I might for the sands myself.
Out front of one of the main gates, there is a large tent village, would be the best way to put it. You can see it in the picture. Seemingly of travelers, caravans, nobles, or nomad, who are parked outside of the gate itself. The gate seems to have a small squadron of guards actually protecting the entrance into the city.
Jing would like to go about procuring garments for the rest of the party to hide their races.
Okay.
Himself, Actus, and Marcus particularly.
Acquiesce to the wisdom of this decision does not mean I must enjoy it.
You do have a wealth of 2. clothing, an outfit of clothing would be a wealth of 1.
All right.
So a few outfits are obtainable within that wealth level. And there are more than a few nomads willing to trade, so long as you have moneyed coin.
Nomad has wares if you have coin.
I'm assuming I have some kind of plain bucks on hand that I can...
Plain box.
Plain bucks.
Plain box.
They seem to trade in gold and other precious metals in this plane. Would Jing have this?
That depends how well alchemy works. No, I'm not sure. I mean, I've got the wealth of 2, so I'm figuring I have some kind of stuff to trade.
Akvis will trade him some of whatever currency she has, or whatever currency he has for some obsidian coins that she has from Askel.
Tidrix has gold coins.
It would be cute if he was carrying, like, silk and spices.
Silk and spices could probably be traded. Yes.
But Tidrix has gold coins.
Okay, yeah.
Also, Josh, Malgarian
asked you to ask something in the book. Okay, so to condense things down a little bit, between an amount of gold coins from Tidrix and the silken spices that Jing's carrying for Bar. Yeah, you can find a merchant here that's more than willing to outfit and trade you guys some fitting clothes that will disguise your races.
You're an idiot if you think you can disguise me.
He holds up a small set of robes and veils about fizzle size.
So what, you're just going to stick those over my wings and we're just going to say I have a giant hunchback?
You could convince people that you were a gremlin.
He holds up a pair of scissors.
I didn't say it wouldn't fit. Just that they're not going to hide anything.
The merchant did suggest that there were fae and fairies among the races of this plane.
In the meantime, Tidrix has time to look at the book. How common is magical detection? The book takes a moment to think over it and gives an answer. Quite common in proximity to the nobility.
Okay, so we just gotta stay away from the nobility.
I'm gonna say that Malgarian was, kind of standing next to him and looking at the book as well when they said that. While the tailoring of the pixie is happening, and he's just gonna kind of like slowly stroke his chin, and when he looks at Tidrix, says, "I still have the runestone on my person. We should probably give them a wide berth."
Gameplay question, Josh.
Gameplay answer.
Can I summon and dismiss the Deuce at will? Or am I about to walk into this unknown city with a skeletal dragon following me around?
Note to self, get you a bag.
I would like to acquire a large backpack. It is roughly golden retriever sized.
You acquired this thing.
He could go all Ouroboros and bite his own tail, be a belt.
It's a very large belt.
That's the thing. In the companion feat, it doesn't state anything about being able to summon and unsummon your creature at will, does it?
Nope.
Yeah, because
Vidus-
it's a companion, not a summon.
Yep.
And also,
Vidus,
now on the bright side, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, on the bright side, he is undead. He could. Does he have to stay in his same shape?
No, I can take him apart and
Or-
put him back together again later. I just don't want to reanimate him.
Well, yeah. But what I mean is, like, can he stay technically animated and just like, I'm gonna just dislocate all my shoulders and my hips and just fold those inside of my chest cavity?
I don't see why not. The core of his animation spell is in his skull.
This is acceptable to me. If only because it's funny.
So
Oh my God, Vidus is a bionicle.
Akvis looks at Vidus. Vidus looks back at Akvis.
Did I lose connection or did he?
She tips her head to one side. He tips his to the other. She holds out the bag.
Oh, you know what?
And Vidus makes a mournful kind of rattling noise and then rolls over so that she can start to fold all of his limbs into his chest cavity.
And slip into the backpack and a rattle of bones.
And then gingerly lift him up and stick him into the backpack and pat him on the head. And then fasten the drawstring or the flap closed over his head.
If it wasn't for the fact that I know that this should be objectively terrifying, this is just fucking adorable.
Vidus makes a
The
sad
minute-
trill from inside the backpack and then falls silent.
Yeah, the moment that starts happening with Vidus, Tedrix gives it wide berth.
Note that Vidus's eyes are still glowing slightly blue through all of this. Actually, they're probably glowing slightly red because he's black and red mana, but whatever.
It's fine.
Details.
Ashi,
What's up?
you thought you disconnected? Were you trying to say something particular?
Well, what happened is suddenly my audio cut out, so I don't know what was going on.
Oh.
But yes, I was trying to say something. I would like to try to use the shapeshifting boon to return to a humanoid form.
Oh.
Because,
Okay.
you know, it seems substantially more polite to be a human in this kind of situation when we're trying to hide.
Right.
The shapeshifting boon is going to take a sustain from me, and I'm going to use that as essentially in terms of role-playing justification because he's absolutely terrified of being human.
Got it. That sounds good.
So, Margus turns into a, about 5'5", really mousy guy, squinting too hard at everything.
Wait.
I want this to happen while Jing is literally holding the robes out to him.
Perfect.
See, here's the thing. I was under the impression that Marcus couldn't turn back.
Well, technically he can't because I don't have the points to buy the proper stuff to actually
But
make it viable.
But you're going to actually, rather than using the feat, just use the boon instead.
Exactly, because it's appropriate for his character.
Okay. They designed it that way for that reason, so I have no problem.
I have this horrible fear that Fizzle is about to start a religion of naked pixies.
Oh no.
I mean, that doesn't already exist?
You cannot stop us. We are your gods now.
So yes, Marcus is now a human, and Jing hands him a set of layered robes and earth. Fizzle is getting naked. How naked does Fizzle get?
That depends on how uncomfortable Jin gets.
When we look in Jing's eyes, how much, like, at what point can we see the realization of him considering a size difference fetish? It's when he gets that look and starts wondering if her artificial wings might make him get turned on the next time he hears a laser jet printer. That is when we have reached enough.
God damn.
Gladius. Gladius.
I hate to disappoint you, but he isn't really affected in either way, other than the fact that he's trying to make her less conspicuous, and she's rapidly becoming more conspicuous.
Oh, so it's panic now.
Huh?
Panic and
gets her
confusion.
moist.
More like resigned.
Irritability?
Yes, resigned irritability.
Well, that's not fun enough. Let's take off more.
I would like to roll to stuff the pixie in the backpack with Vidus. I am joking.
Please don't joke.
As I said last week, there's a line. We've clearly crossed it. But let's keep going and see what happens. So how much more have you taken off, Izzle?
I mean,
Roll percentile.
I'm looking for a big reaction here. And if I'm not getting it, it just keeps coming off.
This is a game of chicken that no one's gonna win.
Acvis buries her head in her hands.
Child, I don't envy you the sunburn you're going to get if you keep going this direction.
Did you just call me child?
You just act like a child?
Enough.
Hey, Josh. At this point, the cloth that's around Tedric's neck, he's gonna try and fashion a hood out of it because he's thinking that being hidden is gonna come in handy fairly quickly.
Do you still have the book in hand?
No. After we found out the answer, Tedric's put it back in the sack.
No one can see it, but somewhere on the pages of that book is the question now emblazoned: do pixies get some? Question mark.
Quiet, you.
Fizzle. The more you keep trying to play with the fox, the less vampires we get to incinerate.
I mean, why can't we do both?
Because one of them's going to get people arrested.
The vampires are in there, and we
Are they
are
there?
out here.
The merchant watching this transpire between you goes, "Oh, a free spirit!" And then he holds up a tiny belly dancing.
Please don't encourage her.
See, this guy gets it.
There, see?
Fizzle.
She's all encouraged now, and it's your fault.
Fizzle.
Encouragement equals money.
If you switch to that outfit, I will let you ride Vidus later.
I don't think you get to choose that.
Acvis shrugs. Vidus rattles.
I mean, last time I just rode on it anyway.
It's gonna be really disappointing when she goes to this ride and just sitting on a bag for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Josh, I'm trying to remember my commands. I'll get back to you in a sec.
No problem. Yes, the merchant is simply like, yes, I will exchange what you have bought before for this, if that suits her better.
That casual racism.
I mean, it doesn't, but I don't know.
Well, that's up to you.
Actually,
Whatever you're comfortable in.
that sort of outfit, it would become more obvious that the wings are fake anyway. Oh, mission accomplished.
There's like zero chance I was gonna mistake these for real.
Yeah, they're kind of all metal and golden and shit.
Yeah, they're made of metal and glass.
Oh. It would hurt to tell from the picture. black and white.
We'll get it colored someday.
But either way, Fizzle, pick an outfit. I don't think you're gonna get to Jing this way.
This is why I didn't want to go with these jerks to begin with. They're so boring. Tedrix, look at me. Look at me, Tedrix.
Marcus will go over to the shop vendor, pull out a couple of coins from his pouch, and go, can I please have about 2 bolts of cloth? Silk, if you have it. Something very thin and gossamer.
Yeah, Diedrich is still kind of staring at the now short person.
He examines your coin, makes sure it verifies that it's actually, and then gives a gesture to his daughter, who proceeds to shuffle into a tent and come out with 2 bolts of cloth as you asked for.
Perfect. He will kind of strap one of them onto his back, and he will take the other one. He will walk over to Fizzle, and he will proceed to drape her in silk. Very thin, very gossamer, very happy.
What?
After a few seconds of this, he's going to cast a creation spell and try to form it into something very thin and appropriate.
Just as an out of character thought,
What?
it might be easier to just say, "Hey, Fizzle, what kind of outfit do you want?" instead of everybody just keep throwing things at her.
True.
I'm just throwing that out there.
But that's not as much fun. If Fizzle's trying to cause fun for herself and others, well, we have to cause it for her.
Akvis has her eyes closed and is thinking very hard about something.
Naked pixies? Such a dirty lizard.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Other than accurate.
Suppose it must be somewhat shocking. Her type don't have those, do they?
What are you...
Akvis opens one eye, glares, and then closes it again.
Now I need to remember my commands too.
Well, I was going to say it was nothing you've never seen before, but I suppose it is something you've never seen before.
I shrug.
Hang in there.
Focusing. Not like that.
What?
Vidus rattles. Just going to shamelessly use my dragon as an escape.
Well, if Fizzle lets him, Marcus is going to continue making this and make it as revealing as possible while still being clothing and still covering it.
No, we're gonna wait a lot of that. That's silk.
Okay. Well, he's trying.
Okay. A, don't do that. B, also don't do that. And C, since nobody cares anymore, the ropes are fine.
Too late, I already treated him.
Well then, that's fine too. I don't care.
I need some fan art of Fizzle in a belly dancer costume. It's a Google search that I'm kind of afraid to do, but we're gonna do it anyhow.
Yeah, if you look up belly dancing fairy, you're gonna get some very interesting results at the very least.
Hopefully, not on stream.
Nah, I have like 3 different instances of Google Chrome. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Everything's fine. All right, so disguises acquired. You look relatively like natives of the plane now.
Also, as a point
Enough
of
that-
pride, how do scholars dress on this world? If you do.
Yes, you're asking the merchant.
Yeah, sure.
What?
Uh,
What about the book?
the book could be a more direct source. Yes.
Oh, yeah, the book would be great, and then I could phrase the question that way without sounding like an alien.
Okay, so I'll take the book out again.
Jing will be only slightly salty about thanking him for the book. Oh, it's a slightly too low bow, but nothing too overt.
Casual
Probably-
shade.
I don't know if Tetrix would even understand the difference between a normal bow and a not too low bow, considering he's not from Munsang. But
It's fine. Everything is fine.
so you ask the book the question. It proceeds to bring up a series of different forms of academics from this plane. Their garbs seem to vary greatly based off which kingdom they're from, but the ones in this one tend to wear darkly covered overrobes with white underrobes and a somewhat peaked black hat, like it's kind of has a dome shape.
Are you just getting closer and closer to describing a Final Fantasy Black Mage?
No, it's not like a wizard's hat kind of peaked. It's like how to even describe it? It's kind of like an Ottoman's hat.
All right. That's the kind of clothing Jing gets for himself, then.
Okay.
With
They can provide you everything but the hat.
That's all right. He needs to wear a pretty big hood anyway. Out of curiosity, why can't you provide the hat?
Not in stock.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Very specialized item, that.
Always sad to hear.
As
All
always,
right.
the book, once it's obvious you're done with it, fades its page and returns to just the simple, I'm grateful to be helping.
Thank you, Lord Book. And with another only slightly shady bow, he will return the book to you.
And back in the satchel it goes.
So what now, my good party?
We all know that good is a stretch.
I got no question. Still stands.
Which question still stands?
What are you doing? You guys are now officially disguised.
Do we have any mean? So okay, so once we get to a point where we're actually like relatively like is there anywhere we can go where we can be kind of like not in an establishment, but still able to discuss things, quietly, privately, etc. Like at the mouth of an alley without without looking too terribly conspicuous.
Well, you'd need to probably go into the city to find an alleyway. But there's enough room out here in the tent town. You could probably discuss things fairly easily, but you're not in the city.
Oh, okay, then I misunderstood that part.
Here, I will get a token real quick. There we go. That's where you guys are right now, as far as the city itself.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah, pretty much Malgarian's going to say something along the lines of like, we need to figure out a plan before we go into this, because I do not believe that running in half-cocked is going to be a very good idea. Since this creature apparently, with it not having to sleep, it's going to have a head start on us.
But that is my only idea.
It is worth discussing the importance of the daylight within the city, and if such a creature can move unhindered during the daylight hours, or if it will still rely upon darkness to move safely.
Unless he's got a camel following him around, I'm guessing he'll stay in the shady sections.
And I suppose that's it. Okay, so before we get into all that, are we able to find a relatively inconspicuous section where it's private but not exactly, not the hiding in public thing?
In the tent area, yes, you can definitely find that. People are very busy, or otherwise just kind of meandering.
Cool. So going off to the side, Malgarian's going to go over to Tedrix. We will need the book for a significant. We will need the codex for a significant portion of this. For one, how susceptible to sunlight are these vampires? Is it any light from the sun will harm them, or does it have to be direct? Because if it has to be direct, then he's going to gesture towards the city with all of these spires and whatnot and relatively tall buildings. He's going to be fairly... Sorry?
He's going to be safe until noon tomorrow?
Yes. So that's one of the first things that we need to know.
Okay, so out comes the codex again.
Let's actually go to the map for this one.
And I'll hand it to Malgarian.
And then he's pretty much going to repeat the question: how susceptible are the vampires from? Oh god damn it! What was that plane called?
Caberlin.
Yeah, Caberlin. How susceptible are the vampires from Caberlin to sunlight? Does it need to be direct? Did I disconnect?
No, I'm just typing.
Oh.
Is that legible? Readable?
Can you make it a little bit bigger? Perfect.
Okay. So they just don't like it.
Okay.
I'll take this moment to speak up. to kind of when I see that they're looking at the codex, I'll walk over to the group or walk back over towards Malgarian and point out that I can sense no trace of them on this side of the gates.
And just as an out of character thing to make sure I'm remembering this right, there was talk about how they have a portal here and on this plane. They have one of their hunting lodges or whatever it was.
Give me a moment to double check my notes, because I don't believe they have one on Alcaba. But it has been 4 weeks since then. Oh, yes, they do have one in Alcaba.
Cool. Where is it?
Asking the book this?
Uh-huh. Get that divination bull honky going.
Okay, book is going to roll.
Hang on, what are we asking it again?
Where the vampire's little hunting lodge is, where they've got a portal that leads back to Caberlin on this plane.
The book basically replies back in text of saying, I do not know. Allow me to think a moment.
Okay.
As it attempts to see.
So, they have... ultimately, if they have a stronghold here of any sort, then we have a conundrum. It is a good possibility it is already reported back that their mission was a failure. Barring that we don't know what happened with Ametrine. They may even have Ametrine here. So, we know that the enemy has at least one stronghold here. And if they have been established here, they have an unknown amount of influence over the local authorities and nobles. Our options are somewhat limited, but potentially quite decisive. We could frankly go and just rip apart their portal and then start dealing with them here over time. Because the vampire that managed to escape is not one of their planeswalkers, correct? They had to flee with an item?
Correct. Fuck, I went Irish.
So, if we cut them off from reinforcements, the only reinforcements that they could receive at that point would be their planeswalkers. Assuming that the planeswalkers realize what happened.
Or if they have those guns.
If they have the what?
The device that the vampire used to get here in the first place.
Correct.
Yes. And if they have enough to use those en masse, then frankly, maintaining the portal network would be moot. My usual method would be to turn local authorities against them, but vampires have notorious ability to affect the minds of mortal creatures. And my methods are mostly through manipulation and taking advantage of local politic, which their methods would be subverting. So unless someone has a better suggestion, my idea would be to functionally scope out wherever it is that they are holed up for this portal, go in tooth and claw, and destroy it as fast as we can, lock them on this side, and then hunt them down.
Okay.
Make a note of a way to... or the end location of their portal, so that we know where to check next.
The book answers.
Okay.
We
Where
are
does
no
the
longer
book
on
say?
the book's page, by the way, Josh.
So that would explain why you can't see that. I bet. Have to remember to adjust the ribbon.
Yeah. What kind of information might help you, Lord Book?
It has to think a moment on this one.
Well, the book thinks / Josh types. An additional question comes to Malgarian. It kind of turns to the people that had been doing the fighting and the chasing and all of that jazz of the vampires. I don't suppose that in the running combat that you all were dealing with, any of you managed to collect any of their blood?
No.
Unfortunate.
I tasted some of it, but I'm not sure if that will help.
Marcus caught him with the claws a few times, didn't he? Or did he miss a bunch?
He did miss a bit, but he hit him with the claws once, and then he hit it, managed to bite him once.
But that would also have been days ago at this point through sun-baked heat, so unless it was like set aside somehow.
Yeah. I'm not saying it would be useful, just...
Yeah.
The werewolf must gargle.
That was the thought.
A reasonable one.
One moment. Josh, I'm sending you a DM. One sec.
Okay.
I just want to point out the book is listing keywords like it's a search engine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is an infinite atlas full of infinite information not a search engine?
No.
Oh, I didn't see that answer until when it up. To zoom out, I think.
To be fair, technically it's a dictionary or an encyclopedia. It just has a very good index function.
It's a very helpful encyclopedia.
Lord Book, is the portal in the city of Brass? If we can't find where it is, we should at least figure out where it isn't.
Hey, Josh, I sent you the thing.
That is the least helpful the book has ever been.
Yeah.
That was
It
Well,
doesn't know. It doesn't know.
It seems that makes our next course of action and the immediate choice fairly simple. We gain entrance into the city of Brass.
So, Malgarian's eyes are going to go wide for a second. He's going to pull off his little satchel pack, whatever that he's got that's slung across his back, and he's going to pull out his little mirror. He's going to step off to the side from the road so that nobody can see that he's got this like fucking silvered mirror and everything because he doesn't want to get it fucking stolen. And it's going to glow for a second. And who wants to say that they're standing right next to him?
Sure.
When he does this. Okay, you hear.
Algarian, I did not expect to hear from you so soon already. Has the problem been dealt with?
No, Kethis, but we are trying to find him and we need more information. You said that you ran across, before you went to go find myself and Fizzle, that you managed to come across one of their hunting party, and you were able to question him. Did you get any of their names?
Oh, yes. I apologize. That would have been helpful information to convey beforehand. I have been forgetful since my new form.
Just tell me the name.
Louis Casimir. Is there anything else I can do to help?
At which point Malgarian's going to look over to Agvis and then everybody else. Is there anything else we need to ask the Artificer?
Does he know anything about navigating the city of Brass?
No, I do not. I have never been there before.
Alas, such a pity.
I have a question. If we were to find one of these portals and we were just to damage it, would a spark still protect you when you went through it?
That is a very complex question. Largely, this would depend on their method of construction and how they are powering the portal on each end. But they would have to be using similar methods if they're connected on a portal network,
and at that point, everything coming out of his mouth starts becoming the vocal representation of that meme where you just see all the different algebraic equations floating around in front of somebody's face.
Question.
Even though his face is about as expressive as Iron Man's suit.
Question.
What?
As someone who understands all of those algebraic expressions, I would like to hear you nerd out for like 30 seconds.
I mean, I can magical bullshit technobabble. It's like...
So depending on what form of energy that they're using, specifically which flavor of mana that they're running through it, and how they're managing to connect the 2 points as they rotate through the void.
There could hypothetically be a manner in which we could penetrate the time-space shell that encapsulates the portal network and protects them from the eternities.
My question being...
Depending upon if it is functioning as a wormhole through the eternities, or if it's simply connecting the 2 points as if they were one by virtue of using mana to break the rules of the eternities.
I'm done techno-babbling magic now.
My question was simple. I'm trying to understand, if we break it, can it stop them from using it in a way that prevents them from showing up on the other end?
I understand. I'm trying to deduce that.
So
there's a significant amount of planar theory that goes along with this.
Also, I'm buying Josh time to come up with an answer.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to be getting an answer to this.
I mean, if you're going to let me give an answer, I'm going to say, yeah, sure, that makes sense that if you break it part way, it only works part way.
Or that if you break it in such a way that the spark, or that the blind eternities can infiltrate the portal network, then yes, only planeswalkers can use the portal network safely. They just act as anchors or beacons on one end or the other.
I like that idea because it turns their own portal network into a haha gotcha.
So
it's up to Josh. Can we turn their portal network into a you just disintegrated your own troops?
That's potentially possible.
Well, we're asking
Activist
the
cracks her
Artificer.
knuckles.
The artificer thinks that the theorem could work. That the downside would be if they can get a planeswalker on that side, you've left a partially intact portal that can be fixed.
Josh,
Yes.
I would like to roll perception, logic, or learning to figure out if Akvis, in her search for knowledge on how to find her way back to her home plane, would have read anything or done any. I mean, I'm assuming she would have done a good deal of research on portals, but whether or not she can recall anything about portal networks that may or may not work like this one, in which such a thing could be subverted.
Certainly.
I would like to roll perception.
I'm going to state that, yeah, it's a viable theory. It's the only downside would be that, yes, if you break it without completely destroying it, it can be fixed.
Okay, so I'd like to
That's
roll
fine.
perception to figure out if there's any methods that I would know for breaking a portal network in this way with entropic or energy powers.
Okay, roll it. Okay.
Well then.
Yes, you do know a way.
Cool. Am I allowed to rule of cool my way when it comes time, if it comes time?
We'll see what you're thinking.
Okay.
And then I'll say.
Cool.
I appreciate that we could hear the cautiousness in his voice of this.
to be fair, I broke his vampire encounter with a fatigue spell, so I kind of deserve the cautiousness. I believe I've seen something similar to this, and I have an idea of how to handle it should it come to breaking these networks from one side or the other.
Good. Then maybe our goal should not be to prevent them from using it. It should be to make them use it, to make them retreat through it, then break it, and wait for reinforcements.
But if we force them to retreat, then they're not here, and they're simply solidifying their assets on Caberlin.
Right. But they will come back, most likely. They are defending this against many, many planeswalkers.
So your plan is to lay a trap for the planeswalkers themselves.
It is entirely potential that I could, or we could, defeat such interlocks for safety as might be on a portal network, such as this.
Right. And more, they would not know that it was broken.
Precisely.
They would send their normal troops with maybe a planeswalker to come investigate. When their normal troops don't report back, they will probably scale upward. We would maybe get 2 or 3 groups through before a planeswalker could survive. That one planeswalker never has to return.
Certainly a plan. Kethis, you're the most familiar with their methods and tactics. How viable do you believe that sounds? Josh.
I know, and I'm just thinking.
I even gave you warning that this was kind of going through his head last week. Come on.
I will be right back while you all hash this out.
Hash browns.
See, they're
I'll
not.
hash your browns.
That the prawn would probably work for the first wave, but I doubt they're so foolish to keep throwing people in the same way.
Right. Which is why I'm saying that they would probably send one group through that may or may not have a planeswalker.
Right.
And then after that, they would make sure that there's a planeswalker just to make sure what's going on. And planeswalkers are typically more powerful than your normal average Joe. Then
Right.
if both of those don't return, they're going to go, oh shit, something's wrong.
Yes, that'd probably be a legitimate way to think about it, yes.
Meanwhile, we just got rid of a relatively large number of people and didn't have to do a damn thing.
And this is assuming, though, that we manage to force them to retreat with enough overwhelming force that they believe that they believe they have to retreat with whatever assets are here, but that simply coming back with some more reinforcements would allow them to win, but making it convincing enough that they don't immediately come back with the Planeswalker. If they do, then we simply skip straight to step 2 instead of step 1, and he still comes through alone. Interesting.
As long
So-
as we defeat a reasonable number of them who are standing guard, we don't have to worry about them anymore. So we can reduce it to maybe 2 or 3 that go back through the portal if possible.
You keep talking progressively quieter.
Sorry, I'm trying to be very quiet on purpose because it's kind of in his nature right now. But perhaps if we could just get it down to 2 or 3 and send only 2 or 3 through the portal when they're retreating. That way, when they send more, they're not retreating with their full strength.
Yes.
If they retreat with their full strength, we lose many gains.
So that we don't remain quite so conspicuous, though, do we have any additional questions for Kethis before I put this away? All right, excellent. Sounds good. Thank you for your counsel, Kethis. We will likely be in touch with you when we're done here. At which point, Kethis just kind of does a nod.
May the tides be in your favor.
And then the mirror stops glowing, and then Malgarian puts it away. At which point, he looks at the codex, says, "All right, you heard him. Mui Casimir. Where is he?"
Rolling them bone.
I like how the codex just constantly has the footnote of, "I am grateful to be helping."
It's its thing.
I'm back.
Welcome back. One of these days, Josh, you should change that to "I am grateful to not be helping."
Considering the dice roll he keeps rolling, shit. Yes.
Oh, are you still rolling it on GM roll?
Yeah, behind the screen.
Oh, okay.
Matt
That
has
way
the
we don't-
sad.
You'll probably get to see it once I make it a character sheet.
Oh,
I thought you did already make it a character sheet.
No, I haven't statted the character sheet yet. Like in full. Like right now it has 2 stats right now. It has prescience and learn. It will probably acquire more once I give it a sheet. Because I'll have to fill out points.
Did the merchants tell us where in the city of Brass? I thought he mentioned a district about where the vampire went. And I honestly can't find it in my notes.
He mentioned a wing.
Which wing did he mention? Or is that something that I'm going to fail to remember because I failed to write it down?
The eastern wing.
The one we're in now.
The one where you're in now. Because that's where all the travelers are relegated to. Segregated to.
Oh, did we enter the city while I was gone?
No,
I'll be right back.
you haven't. You're still sitting out in tent down.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't realize my mic was muted. That I could swear that all visitors to the city were sectioned off to one area.
Exactly.
Cool.
Since we haven't entered the city yet, are we still near the cloth merchant?
You kind of went off deeper into Tent Town to find a secluded place to talk.
Fair enough. How
Thanks
far?
for troubling me.
How far would it be to get to a merchant? In rough terms of walking.
What do you need a merchant for?
He just wants to go and ask about where he can find some good armor.
No.
But if it's going to be more than like a 5-minute walk, he doesn't want to do it because he wants to stay close to these people.
Yes. If you head back to a merchant, if you ask someone in Tent Town, they'd be like, we don't have exactly a blacksmith here. We have a farrier, or for horses, the few that we get. Most people have camels. But in the city, there'd certainly be one in the bazaar.
Wonderful. Kind of over the walls. Can you point me in the direction?
Certainly. And they start to draw on the sand. This actually gives me a moment to exposit.
Okay, cool.
Let me see. Did I have the... So, this stranger, I'm going to say it's a young girl, actually, who's been to the city before, dictates to you how this works. The city is to get designated into 4 wings. The east wing is the one where travelers come.
Mm-hmm.
And each wing is denoted into 3 districts. The district nearest the gate is known as the Rat District, where the poor live. The middle section, and so that'd be where all these squat buildings here are. The middle section here, where this large building right there is the bazaar. And then close to the central section of the city, which is also walled off, is the low mages. Basically a realm for academies and apprentices who have not yet reached a journeyman mage status.
Okay.
Only citizens are allowed to travel between wings of the city, and only nobility are allowed in the center of the city, where the nobles live and the journeyman mages.
Right. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Be careful in the rat district. She gives you a little girl's smile and a little wave. Be careful in the rat district. Keep a hand on your purse.
And he will pass her a gold coin.
Ooh, and she runs off.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy, look what I got.
Yeah. And the mousy, really weedy, really kind of pathetic guy turns around and goes back to his buddies. Because he's already been gone too long from the big scary peoples.
I'm staying with these people for pure protection. They're big and they are scary.
At this point, yes. Remember, he's not a werewolf right now. He is absolutely terrified of everything.
That's funny. All right, so Marcus returns.
Also, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back, Matt.
Do we stand to learn anything else by remaining outside of the city proper?
No, I don't believe we do. We need to get inside and we need to start finding information.
I smile slowly, kind of maliciously.
I can find out information.
Shall we begin?
I can yell a bunch of questions at people.
Josh, is there any obvious rhyme or reason as to how we gain entrance into the city? Is it as simple as the gate being open? Or is there a queue of people lined up talking to the guards to get into the city?
There is, in fact, a queue of people lined up talking to the guards to get in the city.
Shall we?
After you.
I am entirely uncertain as to why I have been.
Teacher should go first.
It's
Agnes will
probably
follow
worth-
immediately behind him.
Josh, before we... Oh, go ahead, Ashi.
It's very obvious that Marcus is scared. Like, it doesn't take anything for any of the people in the party to realize that something has got him absolutely terrified.
Does he need his thunder coat?
Oh, between the smell of urine and, the knocking knees, that kind of thing.
Josh,
Yes, Jimmy.
going in before we hit the guards, I'm gonna put the leash handle into my bag
Okay.
just because it has identifying marks on it.
Right. All right, so the group approaches the guards, correct?
Yeah.
The one with perhaps the most ornamentation upon his head wrapping, he has several gemstones, stops you with with a large halberd that he has, kind of clangs it against the ground to get your attention. And then with almost like a bored kind of I'm just doing my job sort of tone, he says, "Please state your names and business within the city of Brass."
Fizzle, vampire hunter.
His eyebrows shoot up.
Well, shit.
Well, and the kicker is, because we established when we met the dude in the desert, there is no translation in their local language for what a vampire is, and so she just said, "Fizzle, gibberish hunter."
Gibberish hunter is pretty much an
I'm
actual
going to
job
make-
title.
I'm going to make a roll behind my GM screen here for really quick.
Oh, Lord. But I'm
Okay.
pretty much a god, right?
He seems to be confused. He goes, "Is that some form of unusual term for bounty hunt?"
Sure, why not?
Bounty hunting.
Sure, yeah.
Seems fair enough. He takes
Damn right it is.
a scroll out of the sash on his belt and a little quill.
Malgarian in his armor
hunter.
Malgarian with his armor and his snazzy sword at his hip is going to walk up, standing next to Fizzle, slightly behind her and off to the side, and then folds his arms over his chest, as if she's the he's the secondary muscle to her.
He gives you an appraising glance. Name and business in the city of Brass.
Malgraba, back up. Malgradin.
Malgradin. Bounty hunter. I'm going to assume that all these are with you.
Yep.
And from what kingdom do you hail?
We're just gonna. I think we should just say one of the ones that we saw in the book from earlier.
Weren't they all numbered?
They were all numbered.
Oh.
Because I didn't bother coming up with names for all 23 of them.
The seventh
We're
kingdom.
from Agrabah.
Agrabah. And
Close
out of
enough.
character, the sad part is that boundaries, kingdoms, and who runs them changes hands so many times. You could just make up a name and he'd probably just take it at face value.
So it might matter if they get audited later. That doesn't happen very often. I don't give a shit.
Who would audit something capital T Alibaba?
Agrabah. Got it. All right. And even though he looks very bored, he's been giving you sharp looks this entire time, like attempting to ferret out like your intention. But he seems okay. He seems like he believes you more or less. All right. There is always use for men-at-arms in the city. Please proceed. Cause no trouble.
Of course. All right, boss. Let's get going.
Gotcha. No burning down the city. Let's get going.
And suddenly we're
This
all
is gonna
following
get
the
us
ferry.
As
You
Fizzle says,
always were. You just didn't know it.
as Fizzle says, gotcha, no bearing down the city. He kind of mutters something under his breath that you can't quite hear, but more or less he lets you go.
Please, was it
Can
to
I
the
roll
tune
perception? I want to hear what he said.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear what he says too.
You know,
I'm hoping it's to the tune of "Don't do me any favors."
Can I make a roll as well?
Go for it. It's not that important, but okay.
No
We
plan
did-
survives contact with the players.
we dig deep for the fluff around here.
I mean,
Okay.
do you get
Yeah.
Josh? You remember the story about Captain Richard Face, right?
I do. Now, who else is rolling?
Oof.
Really?
Oof.
How? That's off of an advantage 1 roll.
Oh, he forgot to give himself ears.
Oh, on the D20 you rolled a 1. That's how.
He forgot to give himself ears.
Okay.
As usual, Marcus-
Fuck all of us. I'm just throwing that out there.
Akvis gets it. He says, it's always the strange ones.
She laughs. It almost sounds like a hiss.
I want to hear this.
It's gonna sound like Muttley.
Bulgarian is half convinced that he just heard part of a mating ritual from the Hiroshima.
Okay. Everyone, give me a quick 2-minute break. My cat just ran out of the room like her tail was on.
Okay.
She's gonna go throw up again.
Probably.
Probably.
Okay. But anyway, so as we're walking through the street, pretty much Bulgarian's gonna look over at Fizzle and be like, "You forgot that they don't have a word for vampire, didn't you?"
Nope.
Just bluffing through superior honesty, right?
Sure. I mean, wasn't really lying.
Well, exactly. Bluffing through superior honesty. It works very often, actually. It's pretty much how my entire brood worked at home.
All right then, whatever. We're gonna kill a vampire.
And
And
if
to
we're
be
lucky,
fair-
a few.
And to be fair, probably, despite what I said, we're probably gonna burn down a little bit of the city.
Hopefully
Burning down a
not.
city made of brass sounds impressive, actually.
Only the roofs are made of brass.
That'll help.
Akvis pauses and wraps her
That'll
knuckles
make it
against
good.
one of the large, heavy white stones that make up the lower portions of the buildings, per the DM's description.
Also melt real good.
I do not believe that is quite as practical as you think it is, my friend.
It does make for good bathing, though.
Akvis nods.
Wait, if we melt a good portion of the city, just like a whole wall of magma, just blowing at the vampires.
The Viashino trills happily.
It would be wonderfully warm.
we will totally get them back for burning down the library.
Well, from what you all already told me, we've already destroyed one library over trying to hunt down these vampires, so let's let Vanes be the only one we sacrificed.
No, vampires did it, not us. Not me. Vampires.
But the
melting point
knowledge
of
of
glass
entire... Go ahead.
You go ahead first.
But the knowledge of entire civilizations is not something to be so easily squandered.
After all, they might have knowledge on how to make your wings even better.
That's
Are they
impossible.
real?
What?
Your wings, are they real?
No, they're illusions.
Activist looks entirely unamused.
Yes, they are. I mean, okay. When you say real, do you mean they exist, or are they organically part of my body?
They are artifice, yes?
Yes.
He's watching a football game on the.
Thank you, Frank!
Headcanon, that was how Fizzle said yes, exactly.
I need Frank to come voice act Fizzle.
That was entirely too well timed.
And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Activist
Josh,
wants to
Sydney.
touch Fizzle's wings.
Okay.
That's all you missed.
Dirty?
How's that going?
It hasn't been attempted yet because she's afraid of losing something important.
Sexual.
We've addressed the fact that she's Viashino and they don't breed along conventional methods, guys.
Yay.
Ashley, you were saying something earlier.
Oh, I was thinking about being the scaredy cat who just kind of pokes around the big person and pokes with the wings and decided against it.
I mean, okay, like, to be fair, like, it was pointed out that picture was black and white, none of you were around when it was being described. They are quite obviously metal. They appear to be made of brass and copper, and the membranes look like extremely thin panes of stained glass in multiple colors.
Cool. Acvis asked an obvious question and received an obvious answer.
So I'm going to move the token on the map here. You're now in that area.
Which way is north on this map?
North would be... I know, because of the skewed thingy.
I don't trust the sun to set or rise in the east or the west, so...
North is that way.
Okay.
So, just to make sure that because I'm brain farting pretty hard, I apologize. Did the book ever get to roll its scrying once it got the name of the vampire dropped on it? Or
Yes.
did it fuck that up too?
It fucked that up too.
How long until we can get it to try again?
A time.
Are there
Tell us what's
signs
underground.
in this city?
Because if like we have literally no starting point other than just to walk up to people like, hey, has anybody dropped this name and or looked at you funny with glowing red eyes and fangs?
So,
Have you been nibbled on recently?
I am
I guess-
Josh. I'm rolling for the obvious thing.
okay. The obvious thing.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me get over a little bit of a spiel first.
Okay.
So as you guys are walking through the Rat District, the Poor District, one thing you begin to notice is that despite this being the Poor District, and there being an excess amount of like hovels, places where the homeless people would obviously come, you're not seeing a lot of homeless people. In addition to that, as you wander a lot, you see wanted posters posted up on many of the, offering rewards for any willing hands to do mercenary work in relocating the beggar population back to the Rat District, and a reward for any information leading to the discovery of guards currently MIA.
Oops.
Now we get to Actus's thing. You roll entropy to try and sniff out the trail of necromantic energy that the vampire's probably leaving off.
Probably.
It's there, but it's also heavily muddled by the amount of traffic coming through this city.
Okay.
Unusually, there are multiple trails through this city, though they aren't vampires. There's something else and unidentifiable, especially because they seem to be using a mana that is not black.
I would like to do two things. The first of which is use entropy and a concentration to try and set up like a 25-foot perimeter ward centered on myself
Uh-huh.
as like a detect entropic mana or magic ward.
And what's it intending to do? What's it intending to ward off?
It's not intending to ward anything off. It's intending to alert me if any of these entropic power users come within 25 feet of us.
Okay.
With the understanding that doing this is a power drain and will probably reveal, if they're paying attention, will probably reveal me to them as well.
Active sonar versus passive.
Yes.
And what power level are you trying to set this up at?
3.
Okay, so... yeah, here.
Cool. Second, I can sense two things here out of the ordinary. One is the trail of the vampires. The second is that there's some sort of power source here that is drawing on the strands of the dead like black mana would, but without the same taste as black mana has.
What?
Do you have the Codex, Tetrix? May I borrow it, please?
Sure.
Okay, so you borrow the codex.
Once
Actus
again.
does not actually take it from him.
Oh, so he'll open it.
This is definitely a gesture of goodwill from the Viashino. What is there in this plane that would look and feel like black mana, but not quite the same?
The book returns the simple answer: nothing.
Psst.
Okay,
Actus
it's
looks
just for
very,
the sake-
very concerned.
For the sake of clarifying what you said, Josh, so you said it's entropy but not using black magic, or it's undeath but not using...
It's necromantic, but it's not using entropy. It's not using black mana.
Can you trace the entropic or necromantic energies off the plane from the city of Brass?
Gonna make me have to roll the sight roll again, aren't you?
Yep.
Oh, at least you got better that time.
It's not reassuring,
Rolled
Josh.
2 instead of a 1.
He rolled a 17 and a 1. So, his answer is yes. goes very far to a plane I've never seen.
Does it all stem from the same point on this plane?
I can't tell that. There's too many trails, old and new.
Can you pick one and follow it?
Mana is
Or-
not like scent trails. It doesn't work like that.
Can I roll like a smarty pants check to I can't words tonight. To cognate common forms of non-black necromancy?
Yeah, if you're learning. And yes, Vitus can roll from inside the...
Okay.
Oh, Jing, come on, man.
Oh, Vidus!
No and no. Jing, probably because his knowledge is limited somewhat to his own plane at this point. Monsing doesn't have anything... Well, Monsing has a lot of necromantic things that come from all sorts of colors. But those aren't like physical beings, those are spirits.
I'm gonna use one of Vidus's legend points there. I could do that to re-roll the roll, right?
Sure, yeah.
At least the Deuce has an excuse. He's chopped up in a bag.
He's folded up like Bionicle, okay?
Jing just sucks.
I don't know what you want me to do with that legend point, but it's gone now.
Just hand it to me.
Okay.
It's sad because he's going to get it back in a minute anyway, because you guys have been role-playing like fiends tonight. So points are probably going to be handed out regardless.
Cool.
Yay.
So yes. Vitus rattles in the bag. He can also smell it.
Can he figure out where it's coming from? Can I use Vidus like a divining rod, where he like rattles harder the closer I get to the source of this?
Are you guys willing to follow along this line of investigation?
Yeah.
Jing was sold as soon as he heard the phrase non-black necromancy.
Well,
Okay.
after hearing that it's non-black necromancy, there's a pit in Tedrix's stomach.
God damn it. This is not how I saw tonight going.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So, I sense that the group might be splitting up a little bit at this point. Malgarian wants to go and ask about the captain of the guard.
Well-
Vitus wants to go and let, or Actus wants to use Vitus as like a...
I think
That's
Malgarian's
good.
asking the book.
Oh.
Yes. Like he's frankly just looking for less information even than a Tinder profile would give. I need age, sex, location, and fucking hobby.
He definitely wants to cyber with the guard captain.
The location...
You're not fucking wrong, because he's pretty much like, oh, okay, well, go ahead, Josh.
The guard captain is easily locatable. On every single one of the wanted posters you've seen, it says "Inquire at the Central Barracks" in the Brazar district with the guard captain.
Okay, so here's what the following questions: guy or girl?
Guy.
What are they into?
You're asking this of the book?
Yeah.
The book almost it comes back with a line. You people ask a lot of hard questions.
To be fair, at least we don't make you do any of the legwork.
True. I do only know what I have encountered. I can try and see, but going off nothing is not easy.
So you're not
And-
able to look into the past.
No, he's not able to look in the past nor the future, and scrying on someone that he has pretty much only a name on is hard. And he did not get enough to do anything with it. And I guess at this
Yelling
point,
like blood coladas and getting caught in the shade.
No, I'm not talking about the vampire. I'm talking about the guard captain.
Captain,
Oh, the guard captain. I don't have anything funny to say about that. You should ask about the vampire.
it returns back a few kind of vague answers.
Okay.
He's a very businesslike man, a career. His family is very storied in the history of peacekeeping. He is close to retirement.
Does he have current family?
Yes.
Cool. Like immediate family, like wife, kids. Cool.
Wife, kids,
So-
yes.
So he's probably straight. So at this point, Malgarian's going to just kind of nod at the book, thank Tedrix for being subject to this conversation, and then he's going to look at the rest of the group and just very flatly say, I'm going to go turn into a woman. I'm going to go get what information I can out of the guard captain. I will meet up with you all in a little while.
Akvis looks alarmed.
Yes, go on. What?
Out of character, I'm about to go abuse the shit out of what his humanoid form is built to do. Perks, attractive, perk, silver tongue. I get so many advantages on if somebody thinks that if I am what they would be into, and with 5 minutes, once per session, when you converse with an intelligent creature for at least 5 minutes, you will learn one useful secret of the GM's choosing. In addition, 2 points in persuasion, 2 points in presence, feat, well-rounded. Anytime you use an attribute with a score of 2 or less to make an action roll outside of combat that is not a bane or boon invocation, you gain advantage 1.
Okay.
The salt.
All right.
Josh. The salt.
Malkavian's tired of having no information to run on, and the book keeps fucking up. It's like, all right, doing this the old-fashioned way.
Which I should state the mechanic of this. The more information you have in advance before you ask the book, the more potent it can scry for you.
Exactly, but ultimately, this is the thing that Malgarian can do without turning into a dragon to get us off of square 0 and onto square 1.
We're on like square 0.5, to be fair. Vidus is still rattling in the background.
So,
Fair.
yes, I'm good with the party splitting up at this point. I should also state, Tedrix, something I haven't mentioned, but I should have, but I kept getting distracted by roll. Every time the book has had to use this seeing ability, you felt a little like it warms in your hand and it pulls a little bit on your mana. Like you have to feed it mana to have this happen.
Oh, yay.
I'm assuming only a little bit then, though, because it hasn't been a noteworthy thing.
No, it hasn't been noteworthy, so there's not like you haven't had ever to give it a lot, like beyond what you can call to yourself.
Mana cost 1 colorless.
Basically, yes, like 2 colorless.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
There's always been enough ambient mana around that it doesn't really affect Tedrix at this point. But there is a cost associated with it. See.
okay.
So we're gonna start with Akvis and Vitus, and whoever follows Akvis and Vitus off into the alleyways.
Tedrix.
Tetrix.
I think that's pretty much everybody except Hungarian.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Malgarian's gonna go be a cougar.
One of the things, as we're going along, I'm going to try and stay hidden, utilizing my street rat skill or perk.
Okay. This is a great place for it,
Yeah.
because this is everything you remember about being a street rat. This
Yeah.
place is cluttered, dirty, poor, plenty of places to hide, plenty of places to disappear. Welcome back, Emily.
He just has to say one jump ahead of the lawman.
Speaking of which, Vitus's perception roll allows you to follow him along one of these lines, these abnormal necromantic energy lines, until eventually you reach an alleyway that it becomes obvious you should not go down this alleyway. Mainly because there's 3 guards standing there examining what looks like a pulped body and a long trail of blood.
Whoa.
I have questions. Akvis is going to peer around the edge of the corner of the alleyway, see what's going on, and then back up very quickly. And kind of smack the side of the backpack until Vidus stops rattling. Because that's just drawing attention now.
Yep.
Josh, let me ask you something. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I was going to say, since there's a grisly murder down this alley, how likely is it that I can get up onto the roof without anybody seeing me and go over and listen to what the guards are saying?
Well, the building is windblown and porous. There's plenty of handholds. You could probably get up there.
Okay.
And yes, Matt, that'd be appreciated.
Okay. So, do you want me to...
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, good. I was just going to say, since it's a thing where it's going to be like at least a 5-minute meeting kind of a deal, did you want me to just throw like a couple of like 1 presence, 2 persuasion rolls, and then we'll call that how the scene goes?
Yeah, we'll call that.
Okay.
All right, I have a question.
Yes.
Who decided they were going to be responsible for having Fizzle along?
Got it.
Fizzle had since you came back at a awkward period, you have a choice. Malgarian walked off on his own to try and go
seduce the captain of the guard.
Seduce the captain of the guard, and the rest of them were following Vitus, following these terrifying necromantic trails that aren't right.
They're not only are they not right, they're not wrong either, which is more of the issue, I think.
Josh, I'm dropping a legend point on that for a reroll.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Whichever path you take, you're gonna see some shit.
Fuck.
You take the better one.
Fuck you, game!
You could always drop another one, Matt.
I have 2 persuasion rolls to throw as well. It's fine.
And a 15's not bad. That's a perception.
Oh, whoops.
And while the rolling's going on, Jimmy, throw me your agility to climb up that.
I'm gonna say I went with them.
Emily, we're following Akvis and Vidus, who is acting like a Marco Polo bag where he rattles harder the closer they get towards the source of this one not black mana necromantic trail.
Uh-huh.
And then they found a grisly murder scene.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm.
And while we're rolling
sit down here, and I'm gonna watch Tedric climb a building.
The obvious roll. Josh. From around the corner of the alley, what do I sense as far as necromantic energy on the body? And on the guard standing next to the body.
The guards are clean.
Damn.
The trail leads straight down the alley, and there's a large cluster of it around the body. And then it kind of disappears. Like it dissipates quite heavily.
Okay.
Probably because there's been a lot of people in and out of this alleyway with this body. As they've investigated it.
So the presence of people messes with the trails of magic?
Yeah,
if they have their own inherent mana.
Yeah.
Mm.
If they called in a bunch of mages to be like, divine what happened here, then it's gonna muddle the trail.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay, I get it now.
So, Josh, what are the guards saying?
This is the 16th one this week. Hey, at least there was a body this time. Half the time we just find a blood smear. How long until the coroner's here? The page just came back. Probably about 15. Alright, we should probably get this covered up. With that, they burlap over the body.
Good job, Teedrix. You climbed that building real good.
You did.
I got climbing. Of course I did.
Oh, you didn't even have to roll for it. Shit, I forgot you had climbing.
Hardcore mage parkour.
I just Assassin's Creed the shit out of that building.
Oh my god, you know what I just realized, though, Jimmy?
Huh.
My humanoid form has that too. We could totally just Assassin's Creed some motherfuckers like, oh my god, this has to be a thing.
So, one of the other guards pulls out like a hand rolled roll of tobacco, it's a cigarette. Let's face it, it's old timey. And puts it in his mouth. He seems to have a little magic too, because he summons just a tiniest spark of red and lights a flame between his fingers to light it. Is it any wonder that the beggars don't want to come into their own district anymore? I'm more worried that the mages can't figure out what this thing is.
It's Jack the Ripper.
But to be clear, from a plot standpoint, I cannot tell that this is not a vampire. Or I can't tell that it's not a vampire.
You can tell this is not a vampire. It doesn't give off the same sort of feel.
Akvis looks very, very annoyed. But she's leaning up against... I'm leaning up against, like, the wall of the building that Teedrix just climbed with my hood pulled down over my face. Pretending like I'm ignoring everything around me.
And yet they busy themselves now with their task, basically wrapping up this body for transport. No further conversation for these guys. At least, not unless you want to wait longer.
No, I'll go back to where the party is and just let them know that the guards have no idea what did this. The coroner is coming. I can stay here and listen, but honestly, I think we should find whatever did this.
I would like to smack Vidus again.
Okay.
Do you want another perception roll from Vidus?
Yes, and then for the moment we will spotlight over to Malgarian as he has finished his seduction.
Was it successful?
Now, to be fair, he never planned on putting out.
Ironically,
Yes, I know.
also smoking a cigarette.
So, yes, you made the captain of the guard much more pliable. What did you ask him?
wanting to know a couple of things as far as
Well, hold on.
Hmm.
With your persuasions, those persuasions you rolled, you receive, let's see, 2 15s, 4 answered questions. Plus you get the secret.
Okay. I want to know who has been making questionable petitions about where to place the guards.
The answer to that is that no one. He has kept his guards as they are, always stationed,
Okay.
and have been since his father.
Okay. Then one of the other things is going to be has I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it because like Bulgarian was what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to describe it rather than using like whatever proper term would be. But pretty much he's wanting to know, has there been any like the kingdoms change hands a lot, but typically the people don't, right? The people don't tend to change very much. Cultures don't shift that quick. Has there been any parts of the city where there has been any, not necessarily major, but noteworthy cultural shifts? Like
This
changes
also-
in
this
local
also-
community leaders.
This will also play into the secret.
Okay.
There have been a lot of political grumblings from the High Mages District that he's been hearing filter down through the apprentice mages. The local lord has taken a vizier from another kingdom, which is highly against tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Now the secret. He is outright putting money towards unseating this vizier, attempting to make him look bad.
Like the captain of the guard himself?
The captain of the guard for this wing is putting some of his family's money behind outright making this new vizier, which he calls the Pale Vizier, look bad in the eyes of the Lord.
Okay.
Just because it rankles him so much that this upstart from another kingdom has come in and seceded to such a high seat of power.
Does he have does he only call him the Pale Vizier? Or does he actually like call him by name at any point?
He has never met the man. And he does have a name. Pulling out my notes. Atriju Sabia. Atryuj. Atriju.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was that name again?
Atruj. Atriju Sabia.
Traitor!
Okay. So
I'm gonna need a voice clip of that.
My follow-up out of character question: Does he have a snake cane?
This will be your third question.
No, that was an out of character question because I'm being a smart
Okay.
ass.
Out of character, since it doesn't really matter. No, he does not have a snake cane.
Damn.
But this is the Arabian Nights. It's always the vizier. But no, you can continue with your third question.
Does he, as far as the captain of the guard knows, does he have anything? Does the vizier have in any holdings of his own? Like, does he have, say, since this is all happening over in the Mage Quarter and all that jazz, how to put it?
Does he have a portal-sized house?
I mean that is functionally what he's fishing for. Yeah, it's like, does this guy have? Does this vizier have any sort of like granted housing and or study and whatnot? And then my last question will be: does is it known if he has any form of an entourage of aides, as it were, to help in his duties? And he's, as far as like the role play of it, Malgarian's probably playing it off as like, less a witch hunt and more of just a, that is really weird that he would take somebody from out of the kingdom. I mean, what's entailed in that? Because he would want people he's familiar with, right? So does he have aides from his home kingdom? That seems weird. Blah blah blah.
As far as the question of does he have holdings in land, the captain of the guard seems almost taken aback. He's like, he must have substantial holdings to be a vizier, but I've never heard them mentioned before.
So he has no idea where they would be.
Not just where they would be, that they exist at all. He's never, like, how normally in like court functions they'd announce like your land and your title and things like that. He's never heard any announcement of where he's landed.
Okay.
The noble vizier of blah, 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 blah.
What did they call it in The Knight's Tale? Liechtenstein?
Liechtenstein, yeah.
Oh no.
As far as aides, he largely travels alone. He, of course, has the aides of the court, the pages, and the attendants, but no, he largely travels alone in solitude.
So, so this is now, frankly, just going to be Malgarian being a dick and definitely, like, putting in some seeds of doubt and all that, like, trying to instill some paranoia here. It is interesting that he would apparently be some lord with and vizier of no known holdings, with no known attendance and no known assets, and yet is somehow holding the ear of the lord over the Mage District.
Oh, it's not the Mage District. It's actually the mayor of the city of Brass. As I had put it and shamelessly referenced, the Madib.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So even worse, and somehow with having none of these traditional assets and spitting on their traditions and whatnot, it's the mages that are being inconvenienced.
Not just the mages. The entire court is.
Well, yes, but it's the apprentice mages that are doing the grumbling.
Yes, because their masters are grumbling.
Yeah, and so it's the way that he's trying to phrase this. It does seem like it would be really weird that it's affecting. It's affecting these people where, it should at the most be a mild inconvenience, and yet it's so universally considered to be a problem. Besides just its effect on tradition. I mean, I'm not saying how to do your job, because you've been doing obviously so well and your family is so well respected, but
this is when he'd blurt out that secret.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so ultimately Malgarian's trying to be like, I think that's the kind of guy that needs an eye kept on him. You might want it, but you obviously you couldn't use your own people for that. That would be, well, too overt, and it would get fingers pointed at you. You should hire somebody to do that.
As soon as I can get my As soon as I can resolve the problems within my district, I would certainly be open to the option. I have to figure out who's attacking my guards and who is causing unrest in the rat district.
Yeah, I have the utmost faith that you'll be able to perform as well as you always have.
You're being
Anyway,
sarcastic.
No. He's like, if he's got like this grandstanding reputation of like him and his entire family have served well and and done for a long time, like they obviously have to be doing fucking something right.
Oh, obviously.
So it's like, no, I have every faith that you will continue to do as well as you always have, and I hope that your endeavors bear fruit. And thank you for the tea, and for the company, and good luck. And then he's gonna leave. He's gonna go track down everybody else and turn back into a dude
Where does he turn back into a dude?
after he meets everybody else. It's a lot easier to do that in the middle, like when you're surrounded by a few other people, so that nobody notices the slight shifts in, the width of your hips and shoulders and all that jazz, than it is to while you're just walking through a crowd.
That's fair.
Or a guardhouse.
All right. And going by that perception roll from Vitus, you can follow another trail.
So Tedrix came back. Let me just recap really fast. Tedrix came back, told us what he heard, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Does Malgarian catch up with us now, or after we start following the other trail?
Have it a little bit of each. As you're following the trail, it's much harder to follow this time, because Vitus is leading you like through back alleys, occasionally into a dank basement, back out into the streets. So,
Hey, Josh.
yes.
I am still gonna try and remain hidden and keep my ears open for any type of.
However, eventually, he leads you to a small hovel hidden behind basically in what is an abandoned house. Like someone has carved out a part of the backyard and made a little shack of wood and straw.
Mm-hmm.
And inside is a beggar. And Vitus rattles quite hard in the direction of this beggar.
I'm a do the thing that's the wrong thing before I enter the hovel. I will roll an entropy check to sense what's actually that ward that I've had up. Does it do anything when I walk?
It doesn't react to him, but that second roll to detect something
Okay.
makes the side of this man's neck light up like bright white.
Oh.
Does it light up to everybody or just her?
Just her.
Who's the lead? Marcus, my friend.
What?
Can I share my sight? Could I use the kindred sparks between planeswalkers to impart what I'm seeing to someone else?
No.
Damn.
No TACnet.
It was worth a try. Touch
It
telepathy,
is.
anyone?
Well, to be fair, if Cassia hadn't wimped out, you could have, because her character was pretty much at equal parts Megan from Young Justice as she was the Avatar, because she was psychic linking people.
Cool.
She was.
Oh, joy.
But to continue, this man, obviously a beggar, hoveled in his robes, laying on what amounts to a pack covered in straw, is sleeping the hottest parts of the day away. And he is snoring quite loudly, and he smells like he probably hasn't had a shower in 4 or 5 weeks.
So I'm going to hold up my hand to stop anyone from approaching any closer. This is not the source of whatever this energy is, but it's certainly... He certainly seems to bear its mark. And I'm going to detail then the fact that the entire side of his neck is glowing within necromantic. Is it necromantic or just entropic? Or is it the vampire's mark?
It's necromantic.
Okay. The entire side of his neck is shimmering with necromantic power.
Could it be the vampire?
Do we know if these vampires feed like traditional high fantasy vampire tropes do?
Yes, you do. They feed on blood.
Okay. It seems entirely likely. It also seems entirely irrational that I be the one to approach because I am notably not human. And this is when she glances at Marcus. Marcus, my friend.
Yes.
You're perhaps the least intimidating among us in this form. No offense intended, of course.
Marcus is shambling forward and he is looking absolutely terrified.
So would you say that he looks kind of like one of the beggars that might otherwise inhabit this district?
I will say that he certainly smells like them.
And he's absolutely terrified of something which seems to fit the bill.
Yep.
So you
Activist
shamble
claps him on
forward.
the shoulder, as if to say good luck.
Yeah. He's kind of shambling towards the hut.
Okay. You can. This guy is actually sleeping quite heavily. You get right up within like arm's reach of the man.
Okay.
Do you? I'm going to ask you a very pointed question. Do you attempt to wake him?
No.
I'm rolling some dice.
Uh-oh.
The man's eyes suddenly shoot up, and immediately he lets out a cry. Ah! Ah! Be good! Dimmigiven! Begora! Begora! And he slinks as far back into his little hut as he can, making it rock, because it is a, disheveled hovel, barely held together by...
Do I see anything different here?
He covers his face with his hands.
Okay. Marcus is going to kind of try to see any physical representation of what has been described.
He has a bite mark on his neck. And it's not like you'd think a vampire bite mark would look, because you've seen these things' fangs, right? It almost looks like human teeth. A perfect circular ring of human teeth.
What?
Huh.
So, just as a matter of clarifying, Josh, is it an actual perfect circle that looks like it was made with human teeth? Because that would be more like a lamprey's mouth. Or are you talking about you can see the clear upper teeth and then lower teeth offset a little bit further down?
The second one.
Okay, wanted to be sure. Carry on.
Hey, Josh, he's freaking out, right?
Yes, he's calling. He's obviously woken, and in a paranoid rant, is calling Marcus a demon and shouting Begora, which you don't know what that means.
Can I?
Wait,
He also shouts.
How do we not know what that means?
Because there's no like obvious translation. It's like a slang term or something. Like maybe some form of religious chant.
Hey, reaching into my bag, I'm gonna hold on to my leash,
Hmm.
and then I'm going to try and calm him down.
Okay. He is mid-shout about how he will not be taking his organs
Well,
Wait,
as you
what?
attempt.
I'm not pulling out the leash. It's still in my bag. My hand's just in there.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
gonna
using it
try
as a
and-
focus.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and influence him to calm down. Kind of like I do my beast. Just calm down.
You heard the man. Don't take his organs.
But yes, as you're beginning to cast the spell, he's shouting about how Marcus will not take his organs.
I mean, to
So
be
do
fair,
I-
vampires are supposed to be skinny pukes, and you sent the skinny guy in who
Do I
smells
go
like
ahead and roll?
It seemed like a good idea at the
Yes.
time, Margarian. Did you have a better solution to this particular issue?
No,
Okay.
I'm not even fucking there. I'm just being a little
Oh wait, I
shit.
thought you were here.
Am
Hey,
I?
Josh.
Yes, you're here, Malgaria.
Oh,
Okay.
So
Hang on. I do have a question because through looking at the extraordinary focus, my score is 3, but it says when using it, I counted it as if it's 1 higher.
yes, and I just barely put that in.
What's that?
Yep, but I just barely put that in.
So, do I change the number to 4 so I can roll it?
No, I just did it for you. It's now a 10, where it was a D8 before.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Shit.
It's enough for a calming effect, for a low-level calming effect.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell him we're not going to be taking your organs.
Okay, he seems to settle, but he still keeps his hands go from like covering his face to now like settled down, and he's kind of sitting on his haunches, knees against his chest, and his hands are now covering the sides of his.
Okay, I'm gonna tell Marcus and Akvis just take a step back, and
Actress
I'm
will
gonna
happily step back.
I'm gonna step forward. You know, telling him we're not gonna take your organs. Can you tell us what bit your neck?
Give me a persuasion test.
I don't have persuasion.
You can still roll it.
just
Oh,
means
okay.
you're really shitty at it. But,
Could he not roll influence or something?
I guess he could to like mind dredge the guy, or attempt to calm him further to get him to a completely passive state. Because yeah, this dude is obviously pretty paralyzed.
I'll try the influence roll.
Okay.
Yeah. While this is happening, Marcus looks like he could actually use one of those himself.
Let me see how this roll goes first.
okay. So as far as that goes, with Marcus being a jittery thing, Algarian just going to kind of look at him with like the saddest look of like you poor creature, and he's just going to motion like come here, and then
So
Yeah.
So-
Marcus hides behind the dragon.
I'm just basically telling him there's no need to freak out. We're just trying to figure out what bit you. We're trying to find out what's been taking people.
okay, so he begins immediately to almost like pour out his guts to you,
Okay.
and I'm gonna ramble for a bit. Half of this is only like half coherent. Talk things beneath the night of the full moon. They flayed skin, creep about the dark in the rat district. Anyone on the street becomes naught but skinless, organless husk by morning. It's the good nobles and the gods, I tell you. They hate us. They hate us. They want to see us all gone from their precious, glistening city. They let them come. They make them.
Shit, Josh.
The poor barricade themselves and bar their doors to their huts. Soon we will all be gone, the red district empty as the old taverns.
Is he ranting this loudly enough for us to hear outside?
Yes, he is.
It's my opinion as a scholar that this man has lost it.
Oh, and he does. He seems to have lost it.
You saw exactly what we did in the alleyway, Xing. Is anything as simple as that, do you really think here? And for once, Akvis sounds uncertain about this whole thing.
I'm not saying he's wrong, I'm just saying he's lost it.
How much of this seems like it could potentially be due to being malnourished? Like, just being malnourished, being dehydrated out in a fucking desert, not enough food, and all of the stress of everything. How likely does that seem given his behavior, or does this seem like it's something much more deep-seated?
That definitely would probably, that would seem logical from that his paranoia and some of his inability to form coherent thought would definitely be due to malnutrition and dehydration.
Okay.
But his fear is the same regardless, and he does have that bite mark on his neck.
Yes.
Is he infected? Or will he be a vampire?
No, he doesn't seem...
Doesn't have any trace of necromantic energy in him. It's just that one spot on his neck.
As you get a closer look at it, you can see why it's glowing. Like, the bite has bits of, almost like the skin has had the life sucked.
Can I fix that? Is death a cure?
So that kind of gets into part of what I was going to have Malgarian do with this bit here. Like, my joke about the whole, Marcus, here's a blessing, go grow a pair. That aside.
Josh, knowing what Tedrix does of being a street rat, how much of his sanity can be brought back with getting food and water?
Not a lot. The process of... The reason homeless people go crazy is because basically they're treated as not human, and we're a social creature. Years upon years of malnutrition, dehydration, and just being treated like a fixture on the street wears on you psychologically. And so, now he feels like the entire world's against him, and that everyone of any form of position of influence and power is directly going to try and hurt him. And that's going to take months, if not years, to rectify.
So what I was going to say is that Malgarian was going to walk up and pretty much just say, be healed. Heal him, and then say, we are here to make it stop. What did it look like?
Well, roll me a creation roll to heal him.
Oh, oops, that's the wrong thing. Click Vantage 1. Submit.
Okay,
Cool.
That's enough to heal that bite mark. And so, yes, the necromantic aura flows off of him as Malgarian's white mana flows into the man, giving life back to his skin and healing that injury. It also kind of improves the man's musculature a little bit. Like some of the withered muscle due to malnutrition comes back. some of the dehydration damage to his body is also removed.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, a little less incoherent, simply says, I told you, they're dark things. They don't have skin, or skin that is so desiccated by sand it barely counts as skin.
Does anyone know where they come from?
They only come out on the full moon.
When is the next full moon?
The full moon was last night.
At that point, he's just gonna just kind of nod at the dude and say, "Keep you and keep yours safe."
There's not but me.
And he's gonna kind of shrug and then just make the suggestion of find someone to keep safe. Prove that you're better than those that left you here.
I am leaving the Rat District. It's worth the beating of the gods to be safe another night.
So, after that crazy amount of spell that Malgarian cast on him, Marcus has been kind of...
Marcus grew up here?
not quite full on a pear. He's kind of halfway there. Like,
So he
he's
grew
not
one.
shaking. He's not shaking anymore.
Advantage 3 only got him that far.
You really don't understand how far Marcus when he was last human, he had pretty much a really, really nasty series of experiences. So, yeah.
So, one last thing from the beggar. As Malgarian and Tedric's turn to go, you feel him catch on like the sleeve of your robes and turn you back around. I don't know if it helps, but if it makes it stop. The killing started closest to the abandoned tavern.
To the abandoned what?
Tavern.
It does. Thank you. Go keep yourself safe.
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to give him 2 gold pieces.
He clutches them like those are the most precious things he has received his entire life.
To be fair, they probably are.
Maybe.
I'm gonna give him a bag of glitter.
A little bit of his insanity comes out as he goes, ooh, shiny!
Go for the eyes, Boo! Go for the eyes!
Oh,
That's his name now. His name is now Boo. B-U-U.
Awesome.
Boo shall have great fun with friends tonight.
I'm gonna. It's yeah.
Okay. So after we do leave and he's just chittering away about his glitter.
And gold.
Uh-huh.
And gold.
Oh, and his gold. Malgarian's going to pretty much relay all of the stuff that he got from the guard captain, and then lead into I think that it would be best if we got what information we could out of the guards as a whole under the pretense of being hired. We are already introduced into the city as bounty hunters, and so the city guard is already against what I can only assume is one of the Casimir.
I could
All
tell
we
that
have to-
wasn't a vampire bite, right, Josh?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I shake my head. I don't cut him off, but I shake my head.
Yeah. This is a problem of their own. The Vizier seems like they are a Casimir vampire, based on what was being described. And if nothing else, it's frankly too good of a lead, I believe, to pass up. So, we help the city guard deal with their issue, and then they will be, at the very least, the city guard will seem quite invested in helping us with ours.
And perhaps we solve two issues at once. Because
Exactly.
this, as unnatural as the dead walking might be, this is not normal necromancy. This is something more, something I distrust.
Something far more undermined.
Malevolent, perhaps. Perhaps the opposite side of that spectrum, but even then, if it is another color twisted to their own ends, it still bears investigation and understanding because it should not exist.
There's that pit again.
There's that what?
The pit in Tedrix's stomach.
While the adults are talking, Marcus is trying to clean his robes.
There's a fountain nearby.
Okay. Yeah, he's using it.
He mentioned an abandoned tavern.
Yes.
Do we know where that is?
The Red District?
You've been in the Rat District this whole time. It's fairly large.
Can I employ Vidus again?
Maybe.
I'm just gonna. We could just go and say something like, "Hey, Mr. Guard, I heard that there was a tavern that was recently abandoned. That seems weird. I wanted to go take a look. I'm a tourist."
Or we could suggest that we are again. Hold on, I'm Irish. I mean, I'm not Irish.
Bounty hunters looking into a bounty.
Yeah, that.
Crap. In character, I don't know this, but out of character, wouldn't it be wise to check with the constabulary before we did something like that?
Fuck the police.
Yeah, I think that we should get ourselves hired, and then start poking our noses around.
That seems reasonable. Are you going to use your connections with the city guard, Malgarian? Or are we going to propose or pose as someone unknown to them as bounty hunters following the wanted posters we have seen?
I think that would likely be best. It keeps the persona that I presented to the captain of the guard separate and unknown in case it needs to be used again later.
So, unbeknownst to the rest of the group, Marcus, who has moved away to go to that fountain
What's that?
and get some armor. As you're cleaning on your robes, an individual wanders up and plunges his head into the waters.
Okay.
He looks like this. He takes a cleansing wash of his face, a big gulp of water between his hand, and simply says, "The sun is terrible today," before wandering off.
Okay. Let's see here. It would probably be a logic roll to put two and two together.
Well, you can kind of... He's obviously magical. Like, you can see that he has some enchantments on him. Probably to ward off sunburn.
That's actually a very good logic roll for Marcus.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. Marcus comes running back to the group. He's trailing the one pant leg that hasn't been put on correctly.
Well, allow me to explain one other thing he notices with that logic roll. The man doesn't smell like undead. He doesn't have that aura to him in his mana. Specifically, he has a very orderly white aura to him, especially in his spell work that is staving off any sunburn, despite the fact he's walking around with a bare chest.
Okay.
Is this fountain within 25 feet of access?
I'd say more 45.
Damn. You've learned.
But no,
I just had a tangential idea. This is going to be great. Anyway. Okay, so we're doing the Marcus thing.
Yep.
So Marcus comes back. He's trailing that one pant leg that just never could like get back on right. And then he comes up to the group and he's like, "There are mages around."
Yes. There's an entire
course
district
there
of
are.
mages.
There was one right there. If the guy is still visible, Marcus is trying to point him out.
he's not. He's disappeared down an alleyway.
How broad could I cast my necromancy sensing net?
That depends on how high you roll. How high of a power level you're willing to throw that ward.
I'm gonna spend a legend point.
Go for it.
No.
You can take the 16. You can get it up to about how far was the first roll? Wasn't it like 18?
25.
With
25? So yeah,
let's
you
see,
can't get it to go
it
any
was-
further.
yeah, it was 25 with a 25. Akvis focuses very hard and expends a burst of energy that all of you all can feel, but nothing happens.
Yeah. They seem to be using white magic. I'm not sure.
Certainly a mage wouldn't be in this part of town without good reason.
It seemed important, so I figured the smart people should know. And he proceeds to finish dressing himself.
Show's over.
I mean,
Teachers is on the move.
To be fair, there have been a bunch of murders in the Rat District.
Do you happen to catch the scent by any chance?
Akvis is following Tetrix.
Not really. I was kind of busy cleaning my nose.
What?
He asked me if I could smell him.
Ah.
I can only imagine the messages I've been getting on Discord. I'm sorry. Hang on.
You don't even
Check that thing.
you don't even have to worry about like not having Discord open anymore, Josh.
I know I'm terrible. I'm sorry.
So what did this mage do? Did he say anything to you? Did he make himself known?
He showed up. He had boards against the sun, and something else I couldn't quite tell. Was kind of distracted, and he made a comment about how the sun was really hot, and then he washed his face and he walked away. But you know, with all the really powerful peoples around here throwing big spells around, I felt it was important to let everybody know.
Done well.
Just want to say I appreciate Marcus. He's a good boy.
Marcus is the best boy. We gotta get him up to treat.
Yeah, well, when he's not actually scared shitless, he's a little bit more aggressive and less intelligent.
Akvis produces one of Medusa's leg bones.
And attempts to use it to follow this man.
I mean, I was gonna play fetch with Marcus.
Oh,
I thought you were following me.
I'm following Tetrix.
Oh.
That was entirely out of character and should have been prefaced.
got it.
Okay.
No, I'm following Tetrix.
All right, Tedrix, make me a perception check.
Would this apply to with my street rat skill? Since I'm
Let me look at the wording on that. Yeah, give yourself advantage 1.
okay. Yes, advantage 10. No. Yikes.
That's not bad. You managed to catch sight of this man. He's always just about 30, 40 feet in front of you, but you can catch sight of that unusual garb of
Uh-huh.
of a robe that's kind of only on his legs, and
Yeah.
the rest of it kind of trailing behind.
Josh, that's called a skirt.
It's a skirt. He's wearing a skirt.
A skirt that has, arms.
Can you show me the picture again?
Sure. You also notice that perhaps something that Marcus didn't get a chance to. The man has a back covered in lash.
Okay.
Do I also catch sight of this person?
Certainly.
Can I roll the same entropy check to see if I recognize if he is the source of any of the necromantic magic?
You can just by looking at him, pretty much with a perception check, you can use your planeswalker abilities to check his aura and what mana he pulls. So yeah, you don't need to roll the necromancy. You can just roll perception.
But my entropy is better than my perception.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to find anything.
Okay, that's good.
Okay,
That's very good.
Are there any identifying marks on his clothing?
No, it actually looks like it's from here, just ratty and tattered.
Okay.
I think a waist wrapping like that is called a sarong.
But it's also weird because he's not in, like, you'd assume from such ratty clothing that he's, like the other poor people around here. Yet his physique doesn't say that.
You gotta eat well to maintain that kind of muscle mass.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna keep following him, trying to stay out of sight. Just
He's
follow
heading
where he's going.
He's heading towards the Bazaar District.
Remind me again, is that someplace we can go?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's outside of the poor part of town, actually. It's the middle sector of this wing.
Okay.
Yeah, he's heading towards the bazaar. Make me another perception check to keep following him. Okay, you managed to keep following him. He doesn't seem any the wiser people being chasing after him, considering that people move about the rat district quite heavily all the time. But he seems to move a little more carefully once he hits the Bazaar district. He slows down a bit.
Okay.
And now he's going to start actively keeping a hand on his purse.
Well, yeah, because now all the peasants and beggars are here instead of in where they're supposed to be.
Exactly. So he keeps a hand on his purse, and his ears sharp, his eyes kind of on a swivel. He's both watching for pickpockets and shopping, essentially. Occasionally he stops at a stand. Make me an agility check for stealth. Both of you.
I have that now.
And since this is still following underneath my street rat, yeah.
Okay. He looks right through you. He doesn't seem to pay any mind to you there. And to your knowledge, he's just shopping. He's ordering some melons, a cask of ale, parchment,
Okay.
a lot of ink. He orders an entire like a small scholar's case worth of ink.
At this point, Malgarian's just going to kind of functionally like slide his hands into his pockets and just kind of quietly ask, other than the fact that he's a caster where there's an entire city or entire district of mages, why are we following this individual? I thought we had a plan of action.
I don't know.
He doesn't fit in.
Location.
How does he not fit in? Who in their right mind would not appreciate a wardrobe of flexibility when they can simply cast an enchantment on themselves to protect themselves from the sun?
You did say that he was dressed strikingly differently from the rest of the population, right, Josh?
Mildly. Like, most people try and cover themselves up from the sun, because it's a desert. This guy doesn't seem to care.
This is the only person that we've run into that has white where he can cast protections, though. The only other caster guy we've seen so far had red. Deserts are likely to run both colors.
It's true.
This is fair.
So, that's
Agnes is
kind of
just
thing.
not going to dignify it with a response in that case.
Yeah, but at this point, Malgarian just kind of like we have next to no information to run off of, but so we have to follow as many leads as we can, but finding out how he plans on spending his ink, I'm not certain is going to lead anywhere.
What does the book have to say about this guy?
That is a very good question.
I don't know how much we have to encounter someone before the book starts getting information.
Right now,
I'll pull the book out.
Right now, it doesn't have anything other than his image, and his in lieu of a name, it says that shirtless guy who the party is suspicious of because he doesn't like the sun.
I was just going to ask, is he from this plane?
That's another hard roll for the book.
The poor book.
Well, I'll put it this way.
Would like to lick it for good luck.
Hey, I would just like to say that I have been funneling mana into this thing for you guys. This is the first question I've asked this stupid book.
Well, now here's a thing though, Jimmy. If he's not from this plane, that means that he had to have come. He's either a planeswalker, in which case we would have gotten the quickening, or he came through the fucking portal from Camerlin.
Or there's another portal on the plane.
Well,
fair. That's true, because this was the plane that got fuckered up by virtue of tons of portals by being a trade hub before, so somebody found one of the old ones, but still.
But it's the only valid question Tejas can think of.
Yeah, it is a valid question.
And that was gonna be that's what I was trying to get at. It's either going to be incredibly incriminating or completely useless. We have a 1 to 100 thing. Only those two options.
The book says that it needs more information.
Yeah, this book is fucking useless. Biggest waste of a field trip to a goddamn jungle with a giant slime monster.
You say that for now.
Well, if it can't tell us anything except for the things that we already find and know, then it's kind of like, eh.
It's gotten a few lucky rolls so far. It's told you some things you don't know yet.
I just can't shake the feeling that he was trying to signal Marcus that, like, I don't know, something about mentioning how hot the sun is in the desert reeks of it being like a code phrase.
It's quite possible Marcus is not paying nearly enough attention for that to, actually work right.
This is why you never drop the lead on the stupid character.
It's not that Marcus is stupid. He's just oblivious.
He's just a visual learner, okay? Sorry,
I'm a visual learner. He has a learning of 0 and a logic of 0. Marcus is stupid.
No, Marcus is average.
Yeah.
0 is average, right? In this setting? Or in this system?
You know what one of the most common dogs in the US is? A golden retriever. The average doesn't mean it's good.
But that's Vidus. Vidus is the golden retriever here, let's be honest.
Vidus is smarter than a golden retriever.
Vidus has a perception of 3 and no logic, learning, or will. It's fine.
Anyway.
Vidus is good at retrieving. That's about it.
So, is the party going to give up following this dude?
I think it's okay. Out of character, I know it's going to take a lot of convincing Hedrix to get him to not follow this guy.
That's fine. Malgarian was just trying to get anybody to try and admit anything as to a reason why we're following him, other than he is a wizard in a city where there is a district of wizards, and they're obviously involved in the investigation somewhere.
And
so
remember,
they're going to be around here.
At this point, I have no problem with the party splitting up. If you want to attack this thing from multiple directions, go. So much the quicker.
Malgarian's direction is get the whole party to the guardhouse to get them signed on as bounty hunters.
But we really only need Fizzle and Malgarian to go to the guardhouse to sign us on as bounty hunters, because they presented themselves as the leaders of our troop.
You know, that is a fair point. Disregard. Malgarian's gonna go grab. He's gonna go nudge Fizzle and be like, "Hey, boss, let's go sign off on a contract so we can go bounty hunt the shit out of whatever's doing this."
Okay. Akvis is going to kind of present that argument in character that I just made about the fact that they only really need to send 2 people off, the leader of their troop of bounty hunters and her hired muscle. Because, let's be honest, Fizzle is the one we should all be afraid of. Emily, that giggle is terrifying. Never do that again. Akvis is going to glance at Hedrix, Marcus, and Jing and point out that if they're going to sign us on as bounty hunters, and this man is just shopping, then one of us or 2 of us could follow him, but it might make more sense for us to investigate where the first of these attacks took place.
I'll follow him.
Okay.
That's just Hedrix saying it in character.
Akvis nods very slowly. I keep nodding and gesturing and then realizing that you guys can't see me.
I know it sucks, right?
Yeah, I do the same.
I know how much you all love this cloak and dagger routine, but has it occurred to you to just talk to the man?
Why would we do that?
Akvis hisses expressively.
To find out who he is and what he wants?
So we give him an opportunity to lie? No, thank you.
Or attack us.
some people don't lie at all.
Everybody lies when it suits them.
You must live in a very strange world.
Stranger by the moment.
I
Very well.
appreciate that casual shade.
Follow him as you will, then. Let's go investigate the crime scene.
Okay, so who's staying with Hedrix? Who's leaving? Is it just Hedrix?
I think it's just Hedrix.
If
Okay,
it is just Tetrix, then Akvis will stay with Tetrix, so it's not just 2 and 2, or not just one person. And let the scholar and the werewolf with the good nose, go check out the tavern.
Wait, but isn't Marcus still in his cowardly lion shape?
Yep.
Yes, he is.
So we're letting the scholar and coward go investigate.
Scholar and some dead weight.
Now, to be fair, you know how hard it's going to be for him to go back to ravenous murder puppy? Stop sustaining the spell.
So let's take this in turns. Let's follow Fizzle and Megarian for a minute. And try and get this done quickly, because I think we're about out of time for the night. It's 10:30 already. Does anyone have any pressing, gotta go to sleep?
Nope.
No,
I'm good.
No.
but not really.
All right. I'll go as long as you guys go.
That sounds like a challenge.
You know, somebody said that to a woman before, and somebody was disappointed.
So, Fizzle and Bulgarian head back. Since you're in the Bazaar District, it doesn't take you very long to get to the heart of the Bazaar District, where the guardhouse, or the Central Guard bear. Captain of the Guard is still there, attending to his paperwork, giving out marching orders. What you gonna say to him?
Bulgarian is going to walk up and say, I heard that you guys are looking for some muscle. You have it plastered everywhere all over the walls.
Matt, I'm gonna do something. Don't take this the wrong way.
Hmm.
The guard captain kind of narrows his eyes at Bulgarian. You seem familiar. No, must be nothing. Anyway.
I mean, at this point, he's going to finally pull the cowl down off of his fucking turban that he had and be like, if you say so.
I just had to.
You can't handle the truth, man. Don't let.
So, you're offering muscle. Muscle I can appreciate. I need some jobs done. What is on Bulgarian's face? Oh, okay. So, yes, I'm afraid that my guards are stretched a little thin right now, trying to maintain peace in the low mages and the Bazaar District while we have the incidents going on in the Rat District.
Well, lucky for you, we're excellent bounty hunters.
It's good. I could use that. I need mercenaries. I just need brutes, really. People to scare off the beggars back to the Rat District. They're
Well,
bringing in an excessive amount of crime and destabilizing and making the merchants and mages feel unsafe.
well, and I figured that's the angle you were going to want to play, but the boss and I were talking, and we had an alternate proposition. Yeah, she's the boss. We had an alternate proposition. Your men are much more trained and capable for that. Our method is bounty hunter. Not that we can't use the flat of a blade, but we're not going to get the same kind of respect as your guys would trying to get people moved around. So we were thinking that you have a problem that's leaving a mess behind. We're good at cleaning up messes. If you can point us in the direction of whatever information you have regarding the mess, we can bring them up. Would you like me to roll a persuasion?
Like it
He-
never happened.
You can, but I'm gonna spiel while you roll.
Okay.
Look, I don't have a lot of information. The murders seemingly random.
Counterpoint. They start happening a lot after every full moon.
That's about all we know. They're starting to go after guards too. Or
Additional point of things we found just from walking around the city and talking to some of your plebeians. So they said something about it started around an abandoned tavern. Where might you have some of those?
Oh, there's been a lot of taverns that have come and gone over the years.
He made it sound like its name should be capitalized almost, but I get what you're saying.
I'd talk with the merchants. They keep their eyes to that. What
Okay.
properties open, close, they're all looking for a place to set up a permanent shop and give up the nomad's life.
Do you have any, because right now if we just go walking around, start sticking our nose in people's nonsense, they're just going to look at us like we're just a bunch of freaking psychos, because you know the line, by what authority do you walk into my shop and demand these things, yada yada. Do you have anything to help us out with this?
Yeah, I guess. He pulls out.
Because okay, sorry. What does he pull out?
He pulls out a pair of they're basically like brass stars with a ruby inlaid in bold. They're
Awesome.
deputies' badges, essentially.
I love this thing. Give it to me.
He
So-
but he still at the same time kind of quirks his brow and goes, "But have you ever met a nomad merchant not willing to talk?"
Yes, actually. When you walk in, you're like, "Hey, I'm looking for information." They start giving you sidelong glances like, "Am I about to have to out my neighbor, or are you looking for me?" Because let's be honest, they're all sketchy as shit when they're going from one place to another.
Fair.
So before we break out the shiny bits, right there, the shiny little thingies there, and he's gonna I'm assuming it's a case with like a closed lid, a lid that can close. He's gonna slowly close it, and he's gonna put both of his hands on top of it. So before we start getting into an official thing, and I understand this is going to seem kind of unprofessional, but we have a big mess here, and I want to try and help you out with it. We have two options. You can officially hire us deputizing with the badges and go through all the proper channels, or we can go by the Nomad's Law. And if you can, and let us do it as we like, with under the promise that we're not malicious. We're trying to get this stuff sorted out. We got other things to do. We just want to help you out for a little bit because it'll help make our lives easier. But as long as what we're doing is trying to help you out and investigate what's going on and trying to clean it up, how willing are you to just look the other way for some of these things?
He simply steeples his hands in front of himself. So long as it doesn't harm my cities or the citizenry, I don't care what methods you have to use to get me what I need. To specify what I need, I have no less than 6 guards who, before these mysterious murders started, disappeared off their beat. 6 of the toughest men that I had gone to the wind.
Do you know where?
My toughest men are always patrolling the Rat District, where they can handle it.
All right.
If you can find me information about where these men went, or evidence of their deaths, I can start, and why they disappeared, I can feel more secure putting my guys back in the Rat District. That's all I want. If you do this for me, I'll open up the vault, and anyone involved in this, anyone working with you, can take 2 pieces out of it from our contraband. That should pay.
All right. And just for full clarity, we've got and he starts counting his fingers. There are 6 in our company. So as long as you're okay with the fact that that's where you'd be sitting at.
6.5.
7. Sorry.
6.5.
I like 7 better. 7 is good.
Okay, 7. We got plenty in there for that.
All right. So here's just because I want to make so that you and I both know we're on the level. Oh crap, that's an influence bane. Damn, never mind. Well, actually, since I'm casting, well, fuck, never mind.
A bane can be beneficial if it. What are you trying to use it for?
I was going to use truthfulness.
On yourself?
Yeah, and I was going to try and cast it in such a way that, like, it's like, you know, like aura of magic or like fucking rule of truth or some shit, but it's an influence spell, not creation. So,
Got it.
damn, because I keep thinking like white magic and not game system.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, so he's just gonna kind of turn and look to Fizzle and be like, I don't know, boss. It's up to you.
Sure.
He seemed, every time you turn to Fizzle and call him boss, he actually raises his eyebrows again like he's incredibly skeptical that she's actually the boss.
Oh, she's got quite a bit of power in them fingers.
But she's so small.
You've seen how the mages are. It's always the skinny ones, right?
But she's not skinny, she's small.
Yeah.
And I'm skinny and small.
Mm-hmm.
And I could make your head explode from here.
She actually
He holds up his hands. He's like, I meant no offense.
Okay, because that would be really messy, and I don't want to get messy.
See, it's almost like we're professionals. But anyway, so I'm thinking in the end, well, let's take, if you're okay with it, we'll take one of these badges just in case that's the route that ends up being best for us to try and go. Otherwise, we will do what we can to only, like you said, try and keep everything nice and clean as long as we can, but just. And at this point, there's the look on his face is the whole, like, you understand that I am being very full of shit when I say this comment, but you're totally not hiring us to do this so that even though we're not going to make a mess of your city, if we have to do something bad, that you're not hiring us. But we might get rewarded if we get this done. Wink, wink.
He nods. He understands.
Yes. Just want to make sure we're all three on the same page. Cool. Well, sorry it didn't work out, but it was a pleasure talking with you. He's going to offer his hand.
He takes one of the badges out and puts it into your palm, as you have stated.
And then he shakes the hand as they're doing that exchange. He just stuff his hands back in his pocket and be like, all right, boss, well, it looks like we got to find work elsewhere.
Maha.
Never change, Emily.
See you later.
Don't blow up my head.
Okay.
My wife would probably hunt you down and mount you to the wall above the mantelpiece.
She might mount something somewhere.
I was going to say, is that a promise? I kind of want to see that.
He laughs. He goes, "She's scarier than me."
I'm scarier than you. It's not that hard.
His mustache twitches.
Fizzle. I understand this is the desert, but he doesn't need that kind of shade.
But
Okay.
We're leaving. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. He doesn't actually go bye-bye.
Damn.
I said that out of habit.
That would have been
So-
amazing if you had, though.
I got a very serious lore question here.
Right.
Does our Planeswalker auto-translate also translate puns?
Yes, it also translates puns.
Yes.
Excellent. But not slang?
Not. It doesn't translate slang in which there is no, like, if there's no word for what the slang means, like that guy, he was shouting Bagora, Bagora, Bagora. That's literally just a religious chant. That's literally just like a devil get behind me. It doesn't have a specific thing. It's just a word against evil.
It's basically just a spell that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just a superstitious chant.
Okay. So that one is less slang, and it actually was just gibberish.
It was just gibberish. I made it up.
It was good.
Okay.
Okay.
I have to give you shit, because if I don't, you're gonna think I don't love you anymore.
So we're gonna move to. Who do I want to move to in Spotlight? Why not? Let's move to Marcus and Jing. So, what are you guys investigating? The first murder scenes or the first recorded murders?
Whatever
thought
direction
we were going to
Actus. Sorry.
Akvis handed them a leg bone.
Which will tremble and rattle when it gets close to sinister magic
Yep.
of a non-black variety.
Yep.
All right,
Is this permissible?
this is permissible.
Cool.
You use it to follow it back to the scene of the first murder. They're the murder that you found earlier today. I'm going to say it's been about an hour and a half. And the guards are gone. Well, all of them but one, the one smoking. He's probably on like his fifth hand-rolled cigarette. And a man in a brown robe and wearing like elbow-length leather gloves is working on the body. Examining it, poking at it,
Okay.
and then stitching it up.
So, typical autopsy type thing.
Yeah, just right in the alleyway. Because what's hygiene in the medieval Arabian era?
Gonna contaminate the samples.
Especially when you have, magic.
So, yeah, he's taken some samples. He's stitching up the body, preparing it for movement and burial.
Okay.
What do you guys do?
Marcus is not exactly cowering, but he is definitely following. Crap, I forgot character name.
Jing.
Yeah, Jing's lead. I forgot who I was with for a minute.
It's such a short, easy name.
Yeah, I was thinking Tedrix for some reason. What?
Every fucking session.
But yeah, no. Marcus is not taking the lead.
Jing is doing his best to kind of keep Marcus calm and, having a heart about how nervous he is about everything.
He's surprisingly calm compared to what he was like an hour ago.
Okay, good.
Mostly because of that crazy spell that Malgarian threw at him.
Jing will have a talk with this coroner. He's not a very stealthy kind of person.
So he just walked right up?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep a sort of a safe distance, respect the crime scene, bow to the guard, make myself known.
The guard almost looks like he's about to intercede. But at this point, having seen 16 of these, he's kind of jaded to the whole process. And so he grunts and says, "Don't bug the coroner too much. And don't ask anything you're not supposed to."
Can you clarify what I'm not supposed to ask? I'm an inquisitive sort, you see.
Anything that would cause a panic.
The panic has already been caused, good sir.
I know, half the rat district knows.
The half that left. Anyway,
Yeah.
no.
He just fixed you with like a droll, like, yeah, you would bring that up.
These things happen, young lad. Nothing to be ashamed of.
I sound older than you.
Well, my voice actor isn't very good at this.
So, but he does let you approach the coroner. A looky loo.
No such thing. I'm a scholar, such as yourself.
Oh, I can tell from the white.
What the hell?
You're here to enjoy the process.
The raiments are new, the mind forever. I was hoping you could give me some insight into exactly how this attack took place. What was done to this poor man?
Well, all his organs are gone. Heart, lungs, liver, brain, stomach, intestine, testicles,
Testicles.
all gone. Skull's cracked. Brain sucked out the back. He makes that nasally kind of mucusy suck sound again, which I don't know if I can reproduce a second time.
That sounds like a possible cause of death.
No, that's all post-mortem. What actually killed him was having his skin removed.
The skin is an organ, you know.
Oh, I know. Actually, no, rewind that. I have a funnier way for that to go. He goes, oh, is it? Fascinating. You are a learned man. Here, do you want to do the stitching?
I am quick of wit, not so much of finger. I'll allow you to do the honors.
Marcus just walks right up to the dead body and then just casts a cure spell on it.
Okay.
Remind me why Aquas didn't go with them to cure death.
So you cast a cure spell on it.
Yeah, I gotta bring up my character sheet again.
Okay.
What?
There it is.
I'm guessing the DC on this is going to be pretty high.
Cure death.
Oh no, he's not trying to cure death. He's trying to make death look good.
He's dressing death up.
And then I have advantage 2 because this is a nice round for me.
Okay, you're trying to make death look good.
My, that's a sexy looking corpse.
You realize very quickly that though it seals up the holes, fills in the cavities, there you really can't fix skinless corpse. So you've repaired the bones, you've healed the holes, some of the savagery to it is gone, but it's still a skinless corpse.
So,
Oh, look at that! You have a mage, and he's made it all look nice and pretty without me. You put me out of business that way. Don't do that again.
Marcus just holds out his hand, palm up, kind of gesturing for money.
He puts a gold piece into your hand.
Marcus will happily pocket it and just turn his back and start walking away. He's not walking very far, just kind of out of immediate earshot.
See what your magic has done, Malgarian.
I'm really torn between this is my associate Marcus and pretending I don't know who the fuck that was.
The guy kind of continues. Wow. What an asshole. I can respect it. No. He's finishing up the statement before the laughter. I can respect that.
Oh, I heard what you were saying.
Okay, good. So,
But,
what else did you want to know, little scholar?
Can you discern in what way the skin was removed?
Honestly, with some form of claw or teeth. Before your friend came up here and fixed it all. Yes, it was quite graphic. He's now rolling the skinless corpse in a burlap sack and tying it off. Obviously natural implements. No knife, it's all too jagged for that, or someone's trying to remove people's skin with a spoon.
So the flesh was flayed and removed in increments.
Or by multiple individuals.
Can I just make sort of just fire a learning check into the dark and see if anything about the body strikes me as odd?
Josh, I whispered you in tabletop or in Roll20.
I noticed.
Okay.
I'm kind of flying blind here.
So is Vidus's leg bone? It'll be fine. What could go wrong? Your learning check probably won't turn up anything deadly immediately.
what learning check?
Isn't that what you just said you were doing?
No.
Oh, I'm waiting to see if that's okay. I don't want to abuse this learning skill too much.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
With how far investigation is after 3.5 hours, abuse the shit out of it, please.
Actually, you're all really close. You have most of the pieces at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't go together.
I thought we had like 5.5 half leads.
We have 5 corner pieces.
It's a pentagon, guys.
Fuck, I thought it was a square the whole time. God damn it.
I mean, there are 5 colors of mana.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I let you into my house.
Everything's kind of gone.
Vidus rattles. Vidus's leg bone rattles angrily in whoever's hand is holding it. Except that there's nothing for it to rattle against, so it's really just vibrating at high speed. And if
Wiggle.
That gives me an idea.
he will know and he will be angry.
best part is it works as your main wargame now.
Oh my. Okay, so yes. What are you trying to learning for?
Anything he can discern about this creature they're looking for based on the condition the body was in.
Sure.
Also known as the GM, please help me roll. Whoa!
What the fuck?
Jesus!
Okay.
Why is it every time that Jing rolls? Why? Why the fuck? Okay. Okay. I'm going to
Deep
whisper
breath,
you
Josh.
something. Deep breath. Okay.
It's worse than the fatigue check. It's fine.
It's worse than the fatigue. No, it's not. Okay, so Jing manages to kind of brain blast and have everything kind of laid bare in his mind palace.
Yeah, my mind palace.
It has to be some form of zombie or ghoul. That's the point. Human teeth, yet it's hungry for life. It's removing organs and attacking people at night. It's some form of undead, and it's got to be a zombie or a ghoul.
But it's not black.
But it's not black, which is the thing that keeps throwing you off. Because you're like, on my plane, yeah, spirits of, like, undead spirits come in all sorts of colors. But those are spirits. Those aren't physical undead. But that's also why you entertain even the option that it could be undead. You haven't gotten that piece of the puzzle, because that piece of the puzzle is with Fizzle and Mulgarian, so I can ignore that. But yes, they're probably hunting these people to sustain themselves, to suck life out of their organs, essentially. That also explains the wound on the beggar. You know that the corpses would need to be made out of individuals with considerable strength with the speed of these attacks, or like how long it takes them to basically do this, to like flay a body and take all the organs. There's going to need to be multiple, and they're going to need to be made out of people of strength.
Oh, so when you say undead, you mean these were creatures that were created specifically for this task?
Definitely.
Huh.
And that they are basically hunting for subsistence to prolong their undead life.
Figured that much, but... Alright.
With all that in your head, I'm going to move on to... Yes, I'm going to move on to Acvis and Tito. So you're following shirtless guy who the party is suspicious about because he doesn't like the song.
It should be clarified that Tetrix is following Shirtless Guy and Actus is following Tetrix to make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble.
Okay. Jimmy, you still conscious?
Sorry, didn't realize my mic was muted.
It's okay. So, you're going to follow this. He seems to pass on a note to some of these, like, some of the stuff he carries. He gets a sack, and he carries the parchment and ink and the melons. He continues on, buying some meats, some salt, like a lot of salt. And those things, though, too large for him to carry, he passes a little scrap of paper to the merchant.
Okay.
And then eventually he heads to a large tavern located fairly close to the center of the bazaar. Heads on in to get some dinner.
Still following.
I require agility rolls to stay hidden. Because you've now been following this guy for probably about 15, 20 minutes.
Uh-oh.
I just got made.
I'm good.
Teedrix doesn't.
Akvis is going to stop and buy something at a stall and then drop it accidentally.
Okay, yeah. So as he's about to enter the tavern, he kind of looks back, and he notices that Akvis is now, still behind him. He fixes her with a very pointed look of like, "Are you following me?"
Akvis drops a rock.
And then he heads inside the tavern.
I'm going to linger outside of the tavern and keep an eye on the doors and let Teedrix enter the tavern.
Yeah, I'm going in.
Okay. Teedrix, where do you go in this tavern? He's sitting at the bar.
I will sit back far enough to where I can still see him at the bar, but I'm not like near him per se.
The barmaid comes up and asks if you would like any.
I am thirsty. I'm just trying to think of something to drink that isn't just water.
Ale?
Yeah, let's go with an ale. Fuck it.
To be fair, it's a desert. I don't think anybody's gonna begrudge you asking for some water.
Yeah, I'll just. You know what? I'm just gonna ask for water.
Okay, yeah, she brings you a clay pot of some water, or clay mug of some water. And meanwhile, dude has ordered it seems to be some form of like stew-like dish and honeyed camel milk. Seems to get along well with the barkeep, actually, as they swap tales and chuckle to one. Barkeep gives the guy a bit of ribbing that, for a guy who says he hates the sun, you sure do like to walk out with your skin exposed to it a lot.
And his response?
Coyly, he just simply replies, "Cloth hurts the old scars." The barkeep attends to some other patrons as the man eats. Leaves his payment for the food in advance. Just kind of chills out for a moment.
Okay, I'm keeping my ears out. Just if anything, I'll pull out the codex and just ask it to list everything that it can about Muraganda and just pretend to read it.
It now has also, I need to get to this, but it now has an update that includes all of your adventures,
Oh, good.
as well as information on the people that you've met, and where the book predicts some of their lives are going to go from here. In the meantime, while you're listening to the dude and the barkeep, he comes up again, he's like, "So, Nanara, you ever going to tell me how you got those scars?" And the man gives a very pointed look, and his smile disappears. It's a roadmap. Well, a personal one. Roadmap of proving my worth to my masters. Freedom's a long path for a slave, even one talented in magic. With that, though, I think I should head on. I have some more shopping to do. Yeah, anytime. He gets up from his chair and he walks out.
Okay, I'll give him a few seconds, and then I will pay for my water and head out as well.
Do I have any warning to get away from the door before he comes out?
Make me a perception check. Yes, plenty of time.
For once, my d20 exploded.
Hooray!
Hooray! I am going to. What are the 3 closest merchant stalls to the inn or the tavern?
There is one selling silks. There is another selling fine tobacco and other herbals. There is another that is selling a series of spices.
I am going to go over to the stall selling spices and busy myself looking at the spices and end up buying some of the spiciest one that they have.
California Reapers, here you go.
Hell yes! With my back cheated towards the tavern, so that my back is turned to whoever walks out, but with my shoulder dropped enough that if I needed to, I could glance behind me without revealing my features from under my hood.
Okay.
And I will hand over some of those obsidian scales that I have as payment.
What are these? The merchant is actually really perplexed by your money.
Relics from a far-off kingdom, my friend. A story to tell your friends at a later date.
Make me a persuasion on that one.
Can I use Fiducia's persuasion?
No.
Oh! Shit.
It's just
It's
not my
crap.
day.
It's useless crap.
They
It's
look
a
like
rock.
chips of rock to me. They look like chips of rock to me.
She
Don't you
produces
have
a piece of
anything
gold.
made? That's better. Okay, at this point, the dude has wandered off towards the Mages District, or the Low Mages District.
Oh.
Diedrichs, make me a agility check to continue following him.
Oh, why am I...
To fall
why-
back
why?
in behind Tedrix, do I need to make another agility check?
Oh, yes, you do. Double 18s. Let's roll his. Wait, I don't need Tedrix's sheet. I need Nanaro's sheet. Where's Nanaro the Slave Mage.
Slave Mage is a slightly more depressing title than Glitter Mage.
Slightly.
I don't know what you're talking about. Glitter Mage is awesome. Nope, still doesn't notice you.
Glitter Mage is awesome.
So yes, he wanders through some alleyways. It's very practiced the way he's going. Like, he knows this city quite well. Because he knows the quickest way between each district without getting caught in crowds.
Of course.
It also makes him hard to follow, because he's always ducking behind a corner or something like that.
Well, I'm still trying.
So roll me a perception to see if you lose him. And Akmus?
God, we're good at this. How did your 7 plus 1 plus 7 end up at... Oh, it's advantage. Never mind. Yeah.
Okay. Dang, you're lucky that his agility is shit. He almost got away from you that time.
Oh, fucker.
Not so fast. Or perhaps better, an illusion. What are you hiding?
All right. He has entered into the lower mage. He's wandering around the academies, and that's the thing. There are a series of very obviously, how to put it. Everywhere you walk, there's a sign that's like Master such and such's Academy of the Arcane Arts, the Arcanist's Eye Guild, entrance barracks, etc., etc. There's a great deal of competition between each of these. Like, there's signs obviously barbing one another's schools and academies
Okay.
as they try and compete for students. And this is where it's going to get hard to follow anyone's mana, because there are mages everywhere here. Everyone you pass is a mage. But eventually he settles on a shop. Like an actual building full of alchemical wares.
Okay.
He walks inside, and the proprietor of the store shuts the door and flips the sign in the window to close.
I would like to point out that I killed my concentration aura when we entered the mage district.
That's cool. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
It has been noted. Though you can still observe him a little bit as he banters with the individual in the shop. They seem to be haggling over various reagents, a series of powders and dried herbs, and scrolls with arcane symbols on them. I'm going to let you now know that he's going to spend about an hour in there bartering with the man. Do you want to persist the full?
What does is there anything telling about the merchant?
No, he looks perfectly normal. He's obviously an alchemist of some variety. Like, he's got a blue aura to him. His demeanor is that he's obviously very old, very wizened. He's been at this a long time. Back is bent, crooked fingers from, fine manipulator work, measuring things for potions for a long period. Like the man, he also obviously doesn't get out much. His skin's a little paler than everyone else's.
I don't think we should be separated from the group for this long.
I agree with that assessment.
It looks like we're gonna have to come back to this.
I nod and gesture for Tedrix to lead the way back.
So, with all of that done for each group, is there any other further?
Really fast. Vidus is going to roll a perception check while we're standing here.
Okay. What is Vidus looking for?
The same kind of necromantic energy from before.
None of it here.
Cool.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe each of your investigations have concluded. Is there any further investigating that needs to be done before the group reconvenes into assault?
No, Tedrix. Tedrix is just hating himself because we didn't find anything out useful anyway.
Can I ask the coroner one more question?
Sure.
I want to ask him where the first of these victims was, and if there was a tavern nearby. Well, an abandoned tavern nearby.
Oh, yeah. That old place? It was real sad when the previous owners died. I don't know why he's gone southern, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask.
Nope, fuck it. Run with Colonel Sanders. Ghoul's making some nice fried liver.
I packaged them up, too. It was such a sad thing.
Please tell me that they're wrapping them in thick paper.
No, they're wrapping them in, like, sacks and stuff. They could actually afford proper burial. They didn't get cremated or anything.
Oh boy. I believe that means we're gonna dig up a grave at some point.
I don't see why you would. That was 5 years ago. The local magistrates were searching through 7 kingdoms for heirs and bastards for this couple. See, they were a pair of treasure hunters, so to say. Each from a different kingdom, met on the trail, fell in love, finally settled down here, started a tavern with their money. But because of their nature, wandering everywhere, we figured there might have been some illegitimate children to inherit their tavern somewhere. Never could find any, so it fell back to the city, and now it's been sold. Merchants were in an uproar over it.
Who was the buyer?
Don't know. I just know that almost every merchant was throwing in a bid on it. But apparently none of them got it. So they were all angry.
Interesting. Alright, well, Jane will thank the coroner and get out of his hair.
It's fine. All I got left to do is burn this.
And Fizzle just is suddenly there. Did someone say burn?
He loads the body up in a cart and hauls it away. He doesn't even have a camel. He has to pull his own cart.
Oof.
Lame.
So,
Can I cast haste on the...
no, don't worry about that. Where does the party meet back up?
I probably would have gone to the murder scene just because I knew where that would be.
And if they were not there, Akvis and Vidus would have followed Vidus's missing leg bone to wherever they were.
That solves that. Mulgarian and Fizzle, where are you going to meet up with these guys? Or do you have more investigating you want to do?
What's going on?
That's what we're asking you.
Oh, we're back to me? What? No, I mean, we just did the thing, and it's time to go back, I think. Oh, also, I'm totally taking that badge from Mulgarian.
Okay. Matt, anything?
I mean, if it's just everybody meeting back up, then everybody just dumping the information all into the pot and then saying, like, all right, what do we got?
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do we got?
A bunch of ghouls that are turned on by the full moon.
Murders that have developed from a single smear of blood that was left behind to a body stripped of its organs, and a beggar with a bite on his neck implies that there's some controlling force here directing, or that they are learning. And they are still not of the black mana.
That these creatures are being manufactured by someone, might be golems, and we might know where the tavern is that the beggar mentioned.
See, that's been the big thing that we haven't had, a location. So let's go poke our noses around the tavern. Because, at this point, we already know that it's undead. Of some form or another. Ghouls, wights, it doesn't matter. They're all the same thing. It is predating upon the living, and I would not be surprised to find out that they're created by somebody else as a diversion tactic. This could still be directly linked to our problem, or who knows what. But we still don't know what. All we know is that it's necromancy. We still don't know what color it's associated with, correct?
Correct.
Nope.
We know that it is specifically not associated with the black.
Yes. But but there's that. It's weird that it's not black, but we can't tell what it is.
It is none of the 5 colors of mana that we are familiar with.
Which means that these may not be whites, these may be flesh golem, an artificed thing.
Oh, it is a.
What?
I would specify it is mana. It is a color. It's just not easy to tell from what it's
Okay.
doing.
That's my
Okay.
bad, because I was under the impression that I could tell it wasn't mana that I recognized.
Okay.
Okay. So retcon
Just
that
need to
then.
make sure that was specified. Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, regardless of what it is irrelevant. Where it is what we need. Because no matter what it is, we're destroying it.
There may be lessons to learn from it. And Agnes put herself in the corner now.
I would ask that you leave enough for a study to be conducted.
If possible.
He kind of looks at Fizzle when he says this.
See, it's funny because Fizzle is like, okay, out of everyone here, Fizzle is not the really destructive one.
She's just the loudest about it.
True enough.
Anyway, so yeah, if you know where this all started at, that seems, even if it's not where they're still based out of, because they could have moved to a more secure location as they felt it was necessary or whatever. But at the very least, it is a point to actually go and look at this nonsense.
One who understands that he understands nothing. But I've got a good lead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also we're unofficially hired by the guard captain. We have a badge for if we need to wave it around, if that would be better. But otherwise, we're kind of being given free reign to do as we want, so long as we don't burn down the city.
I didn't make any such promise.
Or harm the people. He was specific on this. Don't harm the citizenry. Do not cause undue property destruction.
Only warranted property destruction. And
That's okay, because the things we're hunting are
And-
people.
and the other thing, Fizzle, I know you didn't promise that, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to give you a share of the treasure room if you shatter a building.
I don't care about treasure.
Okay, out of character, then what does she care about?
having fun.
Yeah, that.
Treasure could be fun.
Yeah, they could vibrate. She could go have another good
Does she
date with
just want one
Arikari.
of Medusa's legs?
It's funny because she could use it to bone people.
Ha!
I'm pretty sure his femur's got a ball joint.
It would also be a third leg.
So,
On that note,
So,
on that note,
are we going to the tavern then?
Yes.
that is
Cool.
the next step.
At that point, Malgarian just is walking out the door to go outside.
Weren't they standing in the alley?
they were standing in an alley.
Were they? I don't fucking.
Yeah.
I missed that. Okay, so he's walking out of the alley, and he's just gonna turn, point at Jing, be like, start showing the way.
What were you
It's
saying?
at this
Josh?
point. It's at this point that Jing realizes he knows what it is. He knows enough about it. He doesn't know.
Ask the fucking book to draw a map.
I'm just, my new headcanon is that Malgarian is just standing there with his arms crossed across his chest. Just dead sick of all of this bullshit. Just ask the book to draw a fucking map.
Do you
Jing will
ask the
take-
book to draw a map?
The expletive is important,
Well,
Josh.
I'm not. Yeah, we're asking the book to draw the fucking map because the moment we have to go find another NPC to be like, hey, this abandoned tavern that we know about, where this is the thing, where it describes half of the other taverns in this entire district of a city, we're going to be right back to where we were before, and then Malgarian's just going to turn into a dragon and start leveling the city.
The book draws a map. Congratulations. I'm not even going to roll for this because I'd only have to get like a 5 considering you have so many parts of this thing. And it's been so far over the city that he can basically fill in the blank. So, he draws you a map. And you head to that direction.
Jing will be prattling the entire story he heard as they walk about how the adventurers met up and fell in love and built it and then died, and some mysterious person bought it up from under the merchants and was pissed.
Hi, welcome to the tavern.
Hi. Your map.
Yay.
There we go.
Now, here's the question.
If this inn is a dungeon crawl, we do not have time for this.
I know. It's not a dungeon crawl. There is a combat here. Do we want to do that next week?
That would be my vote.
Okay, but
Okay.
Well, what do the people look like?
their mouths are just covered in blood.
Are there people?
Are there people? No, there's no one inside the tavern. It looks abandoned. It looks
It's an
like
abandoned tavern.
it looks
I'm
like
sorry,
this place hasn't been used in years.
Hmm.
Had a very lively band, though.
I get to play that later. It'll be fun.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just leave it off for next week.
All right, part 3. Into the tavern you go.
Part
Yeah.
3, into the tavern.
Thanks everyone for playing.
That's weird. Most missions start in a tavern.
This one ends there. Do you have outro
Part
music
3,
for us,
the
Josh?
Exploding tavern.
Why not? We'll take it out on the same song that I was playing to have it end. Where was that song? Where was that song that I was having play? Shit.
Literally just now.
Literally just now.
Literally just now.
Get your shit together, Bat.
I have a lot. Okay. I have a freaking folder for every plane. I don't know where that song came from.
Good job.
You can do it.
I can if I can just. There it is. Okay, I'll take us out on that one. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night,
Bye.
folks.
The dragon's going to use
Bye.
your roof as a shit pot.